For sure, for sure.
I'm gonna. Oh, what do you want me to do on
Yeah, put it on the Twitch. On Twitch.
yeah,
Alright, see ya, bro. Hello, everybody. Give us a minute. I'm starting real quick. What's up? What's up? Yo, what's good? What's brackin'?
Was
I'm not.
Ricky Bracken?
I'm not gonna say the last part. Yo, what's up? Let me fix this. This one goes there. This one goes here. Cool. All right, we are on. Let's let's do this. Let's see here. Let me just check IG. Posted. Okay.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. All right.
Boom, 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 boom.
Got
boom,
my
boom,
hair
boom, boom, boom,
not
boom.
done. I didn't do my hair today, but apparently, all right, let's do this. Copy link.
Oh, I'm stupid. I had my whole mic off, so I couldn't even test it. Alright, leave it.
All right. We're here. We're live. We're alive.
Are we?
I think so.
Or is this just
Is this
a
real?
simulation?
Is this real or is it a
Is this
simulation?
just a simulation?
Maybe.
Simulation or stimulation?
Oh, I got an idea.
Huh.
Can you also put mine on the background? Where's yours? Let me put yours on the background too. Open link. There you go.
Hello. Yo, what's good? What's bracking? Stimulation for sure.
Stimulation for sure. All right, let's get it cracking.
What's up with cracking, bro? Like I did that at my at work on my Friday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
And
in the
everybody's
morning,
like,
and I was like, "Yo, let's get this day cracking." And then they wanted to change the whole entire thing. They're like, 1, 2, 3, cracking.
oh. It's a millennial thing. It's for the oldies. It's for us old people. I wanted to do this shtick. Maybe this is what we need to do. We need to kind of be more open to doing these things. For this topic of fashion, I was actually gonna tell you for the both of us to kind of cosplay and dress like something completely like different than what we usually wear, and then make it a shtick for the episode. I think we need to make it lively like that. I'm kind of brainstorming live. I'm kind of
This is the
brainstorming
way
live.
that we dress.
No, but that's the whole point, right? Like it's a shtick. Like we're obviously gonna show up in our stream and like, what the hell are they wearing? And then the whole idea is like,
I could come in freaking Chewbacca.
yeah, that would have been it. I was like, what? How is this a fashion talk? And then like you guys are dressed like goons and like, what's wrong with that? But like, I thought. I think we could do something like that. Like our next episodes and stuff, we should be more like improvise. We should have some improv and like be more playful with it, because that definitely like captures people's attention more, and people get intrigued and have fun with it rather than just like, I think this kind of dialogue where we're just like talking straight to the camera or just talking to each other is more definitely like geared towards like people our age. Maybe I would even say 25 and up, like people that are like don't really care too much about the sensory stuff. But if we need to capture,
I don't know about that because like young college students, they're like 19 through like 21. They're the ones doing all these political like debates. I mean, they're pretty woke.
but that depends. We're not capturing that demographic though. We're not.
That's true.
And sometimes these woke people are fake woke. They just want to argue, not really debate. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, we
But we
should.
do have a lot of young people in our group.
We do,
So
yeah.
they're definitely not 25.
That's why I'm saying like a sensory thing for them would be like, oh, like a shtick like that, like coming up with like random stuff and actually showing up on camera and like looking completely like a.
What would you dress
Good.
up as?
I was gonna. I actually don't know. I have like a bunch of random stuff. I was just gonna put on some stuff. Maybe put on my girl's dress or something. He'd be like, "What's up, guys?" Like I don't know. Like I think it would have been a fun stick. but obviously too late for that. It could be something that we can do next time for something else. But welcome for those coming in. I'm seeing the count go up for the viewers. I'm seeing them come in and out. So welcome, guys. Welcome to Transparency Thursdays. This is our podcast that we do every Thursdays at 7:30 until 9 p.m. And as
One thing I need you to fix.
yeah,
You got your toolbar on the bottom
my toolbar. What?
on your Windows.
Oh snap! Oh, okay. Let me fix this. Thank you. There.
Now all of China knows you're here.
Oh my gosh. I'd be the Michelin Man if I come back during the winter. I got a lot. Oh yeah. Let's do that. But yeah, as I was saying, our podcast is something that we host every Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And it'll last until 9 o'clock, so about an hour and a half worth of just chatting, talking to each other. Here in our podcast, we like to have conversations that are raw, unfiltered, uncensored, and it's all about just being able to bring each other, have a really natural conversation despite maybe having opposing thoughts or opinions. But at the very end of the conversations, we just want to make sure that we can at least come to a conclusion of agreement or to agree to disagree. But the whole idea is just for us to have a space to have these sometimes very random topics, and in most cases, topics that are very thought provoking and can really bring out everyone's opinions. So, welcome to our podcast. I appreciate everybody that continue to show up and share their thoughts every Thursdays with us. And I appreciate everyone, that do comments or even just like vibe and just watch. Hello, welcome. So let's get it started. Tonight's topic is going to be about fashion, fashion and how it defines us. And there are particular things that I actually want to bring up, especially with things that are trending right now on TikTok and other social media platforms, especially the anti-male gaze outfit of the days that all these women are posting all over TikTok. I'd love to really get onto that topic too. So we'll talk about that later within the entire podcast itself. But let's just start it off about the topic itself, fashion, how it defines us. What do you think of that, Wes? Like, what's the purpose of really bringing up this topic of fashion, and why is it like the idea of okay, how does it relate to you as a person?
I think fashion is a part of our identity. It's the way that we portray how we want to be expressive, but also artistic at times. I mean, I think, yeah, it's really about identity. Because, I mean, a lot of people, like, there's a lot of people out there who just, like, they're kind of bummy, right? But, I mean, I think that's something that we discussed is that, like, bummy is big right now. Bummy is in.
Yeah.
Like, oversized clothing, torn up clothing, stuff like that. But I mean, it's kind of like your identity. Like homeless people, that's what they have, right? So
Mhm.
that's what they identify as. They're not saying like, "Hey, I'm rich, I'm wearing Gucci" or anything like that. If they're saying that, they might need some mental help. But like I would say that most homeless people, most people that like wear fashion and stuff like that, just in general, like they know what they're wearing. They're not gonna be like delusional about it or anything like that. So I would say it's your identity.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Fashion,
Trail.
yeah, definitely brings out like it's like portraying a story of who you are as a person without having to verbally mention it, right? Like you go out there in the streets, you're not gonna go and walk out and be like, "Hey guys, I work in tech." You could kind of just tell who the tech bros are, especially in like let's say like heavily populated zones, like tech zones, San Francisco, Cupertino, parts of Texas, Colorado. You can identify them as the techies when they're wearing like Carhartt, Allbirds,
Patagonia,
Patagonia, yeah, like
the vest, the puffer
the
vest.
puffer vest specifically, You can tell
fleeced.
those are like the tech bros, right?
Yeah.
Or tech sis. um, it definitely creates this identity, but fashion itself is also a statement. It especially like back in the day. I think this is something I like to bring up. Fashion was a way to really express yourself in ways that most people back then couldn't do. For example, uh, women's suffrage, when that didn't exist in America, there were a lot of things that women didn't have the right to do or were kind of shunned upon based off of how they present themselves, what kind of career or work they do.
Right.
And that even starts off with like bikinis. So in the early 1930s, I think is when like women started wearing like two-piece bikinis. But like before that, like before the 1930s, most women wore one-piece like suits or like bikinis. And it was because of that idea that like eh, they had to portray themselves in a way that weren't too promiscuous or revealing. And it made them more conservative because that's what women are supposed to be when they're out in public or whatever. So especially in the beach, they were kind of, it's more of like an enforcement. They were kind of enforced to like, this is what you need to be wearing, or else like you're a bad person, like you're a bad woman, or you're like rebellious or whatever. Um, and I think the more modern style bikinis that were like that we see nowadays with most women that they wear, I think it was actually around July of 1946, if I remember the history about that. But specifically around like July 1946, was when they finally brought out like the modern style bikinis with two piece where there's different like colors, different designs or whatever to kind of represent yourself and express yourselves in different ways. That became more apparent. And that even that alone is a statement, right? To how women started becoming or able to have more freedom in how they express themselves.
Right.
Um, and there's a lot more to it. Like there's a lot of background, and fashion really is something that identifies every single one of us, and no matter what, and through history, it's really a way for us to be able to express in ourselves in ways that most outlets that we couldn't do, especially during back then.
Right.
Um, Another fun fact. So the term Sunday best, historically, being able to say, "Oh, wearing my Sunday best," that that term alone or that phrase alone actually came from Black history. So back in the time before the Civil War, when slaves still existed, slavery still existed. Slave owners would bring their slaves to church, but they needed them to be presentable so that they can show other slave owners what they have. It was a way for the slave owners to actually identify, like, I'm rich. I'm rich because not only do I have X amount of slaves, but my slaves can also present themselves in a way that is more appropriate or whatever because they have these clothes that they can, showcase or that they can be more formal. This was pre-Civil War and post-Civil War. Sunday best, a phrase Sunday best became a thing in Black Americans. Um, because that term, I'm gonna wear my Sunday best, it was that idea. Every Sunday, slave owners would tell their slaves, "Hey, Sunday, bring your Sunday best. You better look fitted. You better look dope." And even Black culture created their own style from that. Like from that history itself, there were so many like dapper folks. Like even the term dapper, like became a thing because of that.
Did the look of dapper or the word dapper come
Like
from
the
that
look
though?
of dapper, like being dapper and being like slick back with the suit and tie, or like having the formal vest and suits and having nice slick shoes. And then Black history, they started creating their own styles, their own trends, like where the baggy clothing came, or like why jewelry was such an apparent thing in Black culture, where they uh so and so quote unquote stunt themselves, with like jewelry and different pieces and stuff. So it's really interesting how like through history we see fashion as a statement, as a way for us to say like, this is who I am, this is what I can do, or this is what I'm able to afford, or this is, this is my identity. So I think fashion is really cool because it's definitely a universal thing. Even if most people don't think too much about what they wear or what they care for, in some ways or another, fashion is still very relevant in everyone's lives. So it's very interesting.
I think even like with our previous like podcasts, we like mentioned like about our body dysmorphia, right? And how you said that you used to wear like baggy clothing
Oh yeah,
in order to cover up like your skinniness or your what did you say like
yeah,
being skinny basically?
like how tiny I was, yeah, like how small and
Yeah.
skinny I was, but it kind of was counterintuitive because the bigger my clothes were, the smaller I obviously looked because it just didn't fit me.
You just drowned away
Yeah,
in the
I was
clothes.
literally like, yeah, I we would joke around. Like I think I might have a picture here and there somewhere where um I would wear like 3XL shirts, 3XL white tees back in middle school.
What?
3XL, yeah, I kid you not. And
What
I would be
the
rocking
heck?
that with jabots, like these baggy pants. They're spelled gerbods, but they actually pronounce as jabots. I'd be wearing these jabots, like really baggy jabos, and they're like, I remember I was like a size 28 or 29 back in middle school, but I was wearing like waist size 34, 35, and I was tying it up with shoelaces, like even double tie it with double shoelaces just to make it look like it's a style or whatever. And then back in the day, like in middle school, yeah, I think this was most prominent in middle school. Everybody with like baggy jeans would tie the cuffs of the bottom with rubber bands. Have you ever? Yeah, did you ever do that? Oh man,
No.
I was like a thug, bro. I was a ghetto I was a ghetto thug. Yeah. I would like we would tie our cuffs on the bottom of our jeans with rubber bands so that they won't like get caught underneath our shoes or whatever because they're so long or baggy. And it was a
Oh.
trend, it was a style. Like in like early 2000s Y2K
How do you
style.
do that with rubber bands?
Bro, man, if I had one I could show an example. Yeah, man. It's
I could probably look it up.
yeah. But imagine, you know how someone has a ponytail or like a tail in the back, like a rat tail, back in the
Yep.
days, and you know how
Yeah.
you would tie it, and it's just like one little rat tail sticking out like that, like really randomly.
Oh
Imagine
wow,
your
this is really
pants.
ghetto.
Imagine your pants had rat tails because you would tie it in the backside of the cuffs, and there's like just this little poking thing, like just a folded piece
Oh,
of it.
that's how you do it? You didn't do it like where you would cuff it, like roll it up and then
No, I
put a
wouldn't
rubber
cuff it
band
on
around it?
my
That's
ankles.
what
No.
the online pictures are like.
No, 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 no. There's another trick to do that. So I actually learned a new trick to like cuff your thing, but yeah, yeah. Do you still have these gerbods or jabos? I don't anymore. Maybe I actually do. Maybe it's at my parents' place. Um, but yeah, man, like it's style, fashion, style in general is just a thing, and it's who
I think
we.
it is an expression, right? Like
Yeah,
it's it's also like the time that you're currently in, which is also expression, right? So
yeah,
back then, I think you would probably feel a little bit more insecure about like your body, how small you are, and everything like that, and not realize the impact that it's making on your actual image.
yeah,
But now, having oversized clothing is kind of like just like a normal, it's a normal fashion trend.
yeah.
So it's a lot more. Um, you weren't trying to fit a trend during that time.
No,
You
I
were literally
was.
just trying to cover up.
The crazy thing is, like, I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything, but like my group of friends and I, we were always the trendsetters. Like when I remember when G Shocks weren't a thing, we were rocking G Shocks since like third grade, and then all of a sudden it became popular in like middle school, high school, and then
That's
after
how you old, bro.
yeah, yeah, but then
Just
e-
kidding.
even after high school, like everybody said, "Oh, G Shocks are lame" or whatever, Casios are lame, and then all of a sudden it started trending again, like college around college time, Casios and G Shocks and stuff started trending again, and it was like the thing, and it was like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm into the hip, like I'm fashionable. I'm like, bro, like we were rocking
I
that thing
think it
since we were in third
was
grade.
Casios and G Shocks were really popular, especially Casios.
Yeah,
Casios were really popular at like skate shops.
yeah,
Like skate kids would
yeah.
like wear Casios specifically.
Casio watches, Seiko watches, those were a thing. And like now,
Oh,
like
Seiko,
Seiko
yeah.
watches, especially, like there are collectors that will look for Seiko
That's
watches.
crazy.
And we were rocking those things since we were like in middle
And
school,
like
elementary
Seikos
school.
are like now like Rolexes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aren't they
I
more like affordable too?
yeah, they were more affordable back then at the time. Yeah.
Now they're expensive. I
Now
don't
they're
even know.
like
I don't even know.
expensive.
I just look
But
at Apple Watches.
but even then, like what else? Like I grew up in a like I when I was younger, I went to private school, so obviously like we had to wear like uniforms and stuff, and we had to make like our uniform stand out to be like to to show individuality, like individualism. And that's the thing about like fashion. It's presenting representing yourself in your own way, but how do you do that with uniforms? So we would find different ways. We would like have pins on our like polos, or we would like even our backpacks, we would rock different things in it, or we would color it out,
Patches,
patches and
goalkeeping.
stuff. Yeah, I remember in middle school, well, I was already in a public school at the time. Yo, we had belts. We had like the buckles, but they were like, you know, the marquee signs, like those billboards that like have those words that scroll through.
Yeah.
Yo, that thing was so popular. People were selling buckles, marquee buckles, where you could literally generate a word and it'll just keep scrolling through your belt buckle.
What?
So
That's
yeah,
sick.
so people in middle school back in the day would be going up to our classes with like buckles and it says like our names on there, or we're like we'll say like our area code, because in the Bay Area repping your area code was like the hip thing. So you'll just see like the area code on your belt buckle scrolling through. Like, what the heck? I remember even Game Boys, like the console itself, the Game Boys. We would buy Game Boys from GameStop because back then, like they stopped selling it for like high price, and you could buy Game Boys for like $30, $20, and then we would break the inside pieces of the Game Boy and use it as a belt buckle. We'll literally have a Game Boy as our belt buckle, and be rocking that at like in middle school.
That's weird fucking hipster flexing right
Not even
there, dude.
hipster. It was like straight ghetto thug, like like out in the
look
hoods
at
kind
this
of thing.
Game Boy. You got a chain,
Yeah,
right?
but
Oh,
uniform.
Forge, welcome into the chat. Nihilist, welcome to the chat.
What's up,
Happy
yo?
birthday, boo boo.
Happy birthday, Forge,
Happy
if you're out
birthday,
there.
Forge.
Yeah, but even
Nihilist said, old
yeah,
fashioned this week. Gosh, what was it? There was a line in a new TV show like Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and someone made a comment. Do you enjoy putting on costumes? And the response was something like, "Honey, this is fashion." That's so true though. Seikos were straight up expensive though versus the Casios.
I mean, I guess yeah, it depends on like what
I
what.
felt like Casios were always expensive. Casios and G-Shock, but maybe that's just because like my upbringing, like we
Yeah,
didn't really have like that much money. So
yeah,
like even going to like a skate shop and wanting to be like a skater boy growing up, I was like, I can't even afford this.
yeah. Like Casios back in the day, you could like well G Shocks and Casios, like depending on the collection or whatever, you can get it for like less than $100. Sometimes it'll go over, but never $200 or whatever. But Seikos, yeah, back then still considered expensive, but I guess depending on like yeah, like your upbringing or
All
your
right, 100. You said 100 bucks.
yeah, $100, less, sometimes even less.
All
That's
right, so each year I would get $60 worth in allowance.
dang, that's crazy.
So I wouldn't even get $100 worth.
Until 2 years later when it's like cost $200, yeah. But Seikos definitely were like a little bit higher, but now they're like you sometimes you'll get Seikos for like 1,000 plus or more. But back then you could actually cop them for like less than 300 or like
I like the Casios
yeah.
that like it has like a calculator on it.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
clean.
a literal like calculator that you can use. Like that's sick with like a gold band.
Yeah.
They're just clean.
I like patches were huge when I was in yeah, we would do patches in high school. But going back into the uniform wise, like being in a private school and wearing a uniform and having to stand out, like how do you do that, right? So you style your backpacks, you style other forms of accessories to kind of show a piece, or even the way you would wear your uniform was like something different. But for me, I was so into
Like
it.
a half tuck.
Like I
Did you ever half tuck
oh
your
yeah,
shirt?
I half tucked or I did the tuck in the front but not untucked in the back, and that was a thing.
Ooh.
I would do that in like when I was younger in elementary school, and people would say like you're unprofessional, like it's ugly, it's not cool. And I kid you not, in college when I was already working in high luxury brands like retail brands, That was a thing. We would be rocking our shirts like half tucked in the front, and it's like, we like, and then it's like untucked in the back, and that became a trend, especially like European style. Like they started doing it in Europe, they started doing it in Japan, and that was like a trend that was happening for a while, like that kind of like grungy uniform look. Um,
Yeah, there was a trend when I was in junior high, and like, yeah, junior high, where I would tuck in the front
yeah,
only half, like the belly button area would be
yeah,
like the split.
and then
So
the
like
other,
it would
yeah,
be tucked one side of my stomach and then untucked the other side of the
yeah.
stomach.
There's even clothes now like that are doing that. Like you can buy like long, uh, the
Belt
length.
buckle tucks.
Yeah, the belt buckle tucks. Like now they have clothes for women especially that are like long, like really lengthy like button downs specifically so that, and then like one half of the button down is like unevenly matched. So it's like asymmetrical. One is shorter than the other so that you would tuck the shorter length in, and then the longer length you keep it untucked, so it's literally just like that. It's
So
half
it's
tucked.
business casual.
Yeah. So it's like a style. Um, but what I was trying to kind of emphasize with like uniforms, it's like even that, right? Creating an identity of yourself, we had to stand out in a way to kind of present yourself as like, oh, I'm this person.
I'm
I
different. Yeah,
I
I'm different.
enjoyed like uniforms back then so much that I would rock my uniforms or the style that I looked like I was wearing uniforms, even out in public. And back then, people would grill me, bully me, and make fun of me. Like, look at this dweeb, like wearing his like khaki pants and like a black polo or a white polo. And I'm like, and then now we see it everywhere. Everybody's rocking it like it's nothing. Like it's literally a hipster's norm.
Yeah.
Someone wearing a polo and khaki pants or like slacks is just a normal thing now. Koreans wear literally like black polos tucked in and it's like tight, slim fit slacks. And that's the thing now. But back then I would rock it in high school and I'd be called a dweeb for it. Like
You
it's
know what's
crazy.
interesting is that when I was growing up, I would always try and dress like dapper.
Yeah.
Like nice clothes fitted like European style, I guess you could
Oh
say.
man.
But I mean, dapper did come from like the term dapper. I looked it up. It came from Germany.
Yeah.
Um, and I I grew up just wanting to be like dapper look. Like I'm a gentleman. I want to wear like skinny, slim fit clothing. And even now, like I'm kind of still that way, but like I can't rock baggy pants.
Yeah.
That's just like a thing. I can't do it. Like I got some like parachute cargo pants one time, and I was just like, this is too much.
So
I'm
so
like tripping over it.
So there's a technique to it. So when you wear baggy bottoms, so when there's like a rule to it. Um, when you wear baggier bottoms, you wear smaller or tighter pieces in the top to kind of contrast that look because that's like the trend in this time right now. Or if you wear baggy clothes, so if you wear baggy tops, you wear like slimmer or tighter bottoms to kind of give you that look like anime, right? Like or like these cartoon chibi looking things. Like that's
Yeah.
literally a trend that happens now and that's what they go for. Like relaxed fits. Yeah. What about relaxed fits? Like at one point does it go from relaxed fit to baggy in your opinion for the definition? Well, everything has to matter based off of measurement. Like in my opinion, like to make it like fitted for you. Like I can't wear a relaxed fit size 34 or 35 waist and then expect that it's going to be a relaxed look for me. That's going to look straight baggy on me. I'm going to
I
look
would
like
say, well, like
oh,
the original, like 501 Levi's. I
yeah,
think they're not skinny. They're not slim fit. They're just straight
tight. Yeah,
501.
straight fits, that's what they are.
But
But even that.
relaxed fit, is that the same thing? Are they the same? Like original
No, relaxed
straight?
fit. So relaxed fit is so a straight fit is so
It
here's
literally goes straight down.
yeah, so this is how it kind of looks. So baggy, imagine this. Baggy goes like this. It's like it's kind of like parachute pants. So it'll be tighter on the waist, but it gets looser.
Right.
So baggy or more like boot cut style is it gets looser as it gets down to your feet. And then when it goes relax is loose cut from waist all the way down to your legs. And then straight is like fitted on your waist all the way straight to down to your legs. And then slim is tight on your waist and then tighter all the way through. And then skinny,
Taper is like the ankles.
Well, taper, yeah, taper. What happens is it's tight, so it's a straight, or it could be a slim fit, and then taper, so it'll be slim on your waist, like tight on your waist, and then it tapers down, meaning it gets tighter and tighter as it goes down to your legs.
I
That's a
think I
taper.
think I think taper is like the best fit for me because like I feel like it's always the pants are like there's an awkward
Yeah,
because I'm into shoes, right? So
yeah,
like I'm always trying to make sure that the shoe works with the pants.
yeah.
If the pants are like just square, but they're not like overlapping the shoe, it looks weird.
Mm.
So it's like I want a taper fit, so it's gonna be like fitted with the shoe and my ankle.
You should try. You should try like
I do have some cargo pants though, like
yeah,
Uniqlo cargo pants,
yeah.
but
Cause
uh,
you have a lot of high top shoes, right? Like especially sneakers, high top sneakers.
I
Or
would say low top.
do you have low top? So low top is
Yeah.
great for baggy pants. Actually, it looks dope. So if you like, I have baggy slacks that I rock with sneakers. So I'll wear baggy like formal pants, but then I'll have a like slightly tighter top or like a slimmer top, and then I'll rock it with low top sneakers. So it kind of gives you that you know how like those Bratz dolls, how they look, big head, small body, but then like their clothes are
Yeah,
baggy.
big head and little arms.
Yeah. Big head, small body with like baggy clothes. That's like the look today. Like that's what the style is. Um, but let's get down to like how is it really defining us aside from just like okay, persona, like expressing yourself through art. Let's talk about that topic of the anti-male gaze outfit of the day trend that's happening right now on TikTok. So I shared with you recently a video with Brett Cooper actually was explaining this. So um, Brett Cooper was talking about how women now are literally wearing or posting their outfit of the days or get ready with me's, but their outfits are supposedly like clothes that men won't be attracted to when they see a woman wearing it. But
I'm still confused by this though because
yeah,
I don't see those type of outfits
yeah. Well,
unless I'm just straight up straight and I'm just like girls are girls.
but also it's because it's primarily trending with a specific demographic, and
Oh,
it's mostly like the white girls, like the Caucasians that are like pointing this out there, and like if I wear and let me give you the premise or like the backstory of
I
this
already
video.
have comments.
Yeah. Yeah, let me give you this backstory of this video. So the video shows, or like multiple videos of them, of like the outfit of the day. Get ready with me as I wear my anti-male gaze outfit of the day. And the whole idea is, are these women are no longer wearing clothes that are revealing or like show skin a little bit more. So they kind of pull off like the Billie Eilish look, baggy clothes. And it's funny how I'm using Billie Eilish as a reference when I could even go back down. And I had this conversation with you, Wes, about the baggy style, where it came from, how what was the purpose of it. But anyways, these women are wearing these baggy clothes, sneakers, and everything, and looking like sloppy, as they say. And then
Is
they
it
go,
sloppy though, or is it streetwear?
but that's what, so again, sloppy, I quote unquote sloppy because it's based off of their definition. But really, all they're doing is just literally rocking streetwear that most people have been doing since like in the 70s, 60s, 50s even. And it's
Hashtag privilege.
and
Okay.
it's crazy to me that majority of these people making this content are also in the higher tax bracket. So I think
They're
you got
trying to be relevant,
so I guess you guys
like
are.
claiming something that's already popular.
Yeah, if you guys know what I'm getting at, these people who are in a higher tax bracket trying to claim, oh, I'm gonna wear this anti-male gaze outfit today because feminism, yeah, woman empowerment. Like, we're no longer gonna please men even by catcalling us or whatever, or like having them check us out. They no longer deserve that. They don't deserve any piece of us, not even our skin. And I'm like, all right, you go, girl. Like, good for you. Like, and I have nothing against the feminist movement. I would call myself as a feminist. I support a lot of the things that most women, even this, I actually say go ahead, because you're rocking that streetwear how it's supposed to be rocked. Like this is a style. Like
But I
that's
think the
cool.
stigma is that there's a specific intention with dressing that way that
And
they're
that's
trying to convey. That's the toxic part.
and that's the point. Yeah, it's like it's how toxic it is. It's like unnecessary drama that's being created for nothing because they think that they're doing there's like this impact to society that men all of a sudden can be like, "Oh my god, I'm not attracted to you anymore because you look like a boy, not a girl." Because apparently
But in a Filipino accent come out just now, you look like a boy.
because that's like that's how I hear them in my head. Like that's how they sound like when they're complaining about these things. And honestly, it's just a weird statement. It's just a weird way of defining.
Well, I didn't see that's a hot take, Nightless, because that is said we weren't attracted to them in the first place for like the past decade at least. That's a hot take because everyone has their own everyone
Yeah,
has their own things.
yeah,
Like I would say for me, maybe it's not the same for everyone else, obviously, because I remember we had a conversation about this. How you were like athleisure, it's so like lazy, blah blah
yeah,
blah blah. But
yeah.
for me, I actually I think that athleisure is sexy.
See, I beg to
I
differ.
find it attractive in some weird way. It just like it just is it's just attractive. Like maybe it's not athleisure, like full on athleisure, but like leggings is like a thing for me. But I mean, like jeans, any of your outfits, as long as you can like portray yourself. Because I would say I'm like a metrosexual,
Yeah.
meaning that like you care about fashion and you care about your appearance
Mhm.
towards like the rest of the world. Okay. Um, someone else
Oh,
that can like care for their like image and everything like that. They're not trying to be a slob or anything like that. Like I appreciate that. So even though you're wearing like streetwear and casual, it's like you look good in streetwear and casual.
mhm.
Like that's your outfit.
Yeah. Like so with the athleisure thing, I definitely beg to differ because I think athleisure. I think the purpose of it is based off of our climate. It's definitely more prominent here in the West Coast than it is on the East Coast. One, predominantly New York. New York is a fashion place, like a fashion city. Aside from Europe, New York is where you'll see the most fashionable people walking out there in the streets. Uh, you don't go here in California or like around like the West Coast and be like, oh my God, I can go out in the streets and take pictures of different people's fashion. It's rare. There has to be specific cities that you
There's
go
a
to.
specific street for
Yeah.
it.
Streets, cities, like Melrose is definitely like fashion street. Like it's literally where like all the other streetwear brands are in LA. You go through Melrose and you'll find all the streetwear brands and you'll see people out there rocking their sneakers, like their styles and everything. That's where you can see people really show their individuality.
Right.
In the Bay Area, it depends on the area now. Like Oakland is definitely where the most fashionable people are, in my opinion. San Francisco, half and half, mainly because of the tech industry and how populated it is with the tech folks and the kind of fashion that they like to wear, based off of their comfort in the climate that they're in as well too. That's why they wear
But
a
see here you said in Oakland they're the most fashionable. How do you define fashionable if
well,
it's people's like
what's subjective?
expressions of themselves?
It's definitely subjective. It's not an objective thing. Well, there are a little bit of objective data to that based off of like people actually presenting themselves individually like differently. Like if you were just to step out of your home right now and you walked outside, it's not like people are wearing something that's like unorthodox or like really out of pocket. You won't see someone wearing like a tall hat in the middle of nowhere in your city. Like you might probably see someone wearing a tall hat, like a tall fedora somewhere in Oakland for what reason, right? But it's because of themselves presenting themselves in an area where there's more population of art included. Especially that I actually also want to add on to that is based off of art. Wherever art is most prominent is where you'll see people with different styles. Um, and art is seen in many areas like in those communities. I really like the comment that Nightless was actually mentioning. Um, so the whole like is it a hot take about the male gaze? It's been compiled online over and over and over with so many women versus so many men and how divided the viewpoint is from both sides. Um, the reason why I shared the Brett Cooper uh podcast to Wes is because it is a woman actually disagreeing with other women about the anti-male gaze outfit and the whole idea of them like just creating this drama, unnecessary drama that most men won't really care about. And I guess it also depends on the location. Um, oh, hi JJ, thanks for showing up. Um, congrats on that. But yeah, like there are a lot of men that will that are definitely getting tilted over these outfits that these women are wearing, like these streetwear style,
Most
because
likely they're misogynist.
most likely they're misogynist or really have suspicious like intentions towards these women. Because like if it were here in California or actually even parts of New York, which actually some of the videos that were being posted based off of the anti-male gaze or whatever outfit of the days are happening mostly like in the East Coast. But here in California, for example, you see a woman dressed like that, like streetwear, baggy clothes, would be like, yo, that's dope. That's a clean fit. Like, I like what you're rocking or how it looks, right? Um, and yes, some people will say, like, what are you wearing? Like, what the heck? That's not what women are supposed to dress like or how you're supposed to present. Like, why do you dress like Billie Eilish, where like she doesn't just care? But even Billie Eilish had mentioned that the reason why she wore baggy clothes all the time, especially when she was underage, was because she didn't want to be perceived as like every other woman out there where she's just sexualized based off of how she looks because of her physique.
She did specifically, yeah, her physique. Like she
Yeah,
specifically mentioned her how big her boobs are. She didn't want to be sexualized for how big
yeah,
her boobs were.
exactly. And so that's why she would wear baggy clothes. But in this argument of women doing this thing wearing streetwear, it's yes, the whole reason is essentially because of like yeah, how these women are being looked at when they're out in the street. Um
Um, the only reason why I called it a hot take, Nightless, I think I might have misunderstood it. I was understanding it as like the streetwear casual look is not, like you were saying, that's not attractive, and we haven't been attracted to that for the past decade. And I was like, I think that there's definitely a lot of people that are attracted to the streetwear casual look. But am I understanding that you're referring to the top 2% little demographic that we're not attracted to? I'm definitely not attracted to that type either.
yeah. Um Oh, I like this. Someone in my chat said, "How do you feel about children's clothes today? Slits in the sides and two pieces versus early 2000s." I think it is very interesting, actually, even with children's clothing, how I think it's more of like
You think
capitalism
it's like
itself.
sex? Oh,
Yeah, and I hate that word. I don't want to use that word. But they're definitely making clothes for children that are more like making them look like they're in their teens, like or like they're above 18. But it's very hard to say because I'm not heavily focused on like what I see children are wearing, but I do know the other side of that spectrum, like the more positive side of it is like I appreciate the fact that for children, there are more ways for parents to style their kids than how I used to grow up. It was really hard for me to find clothes that would fit me when I was little, unless I go to like Gap Kids or like Baby Gap or whatever it was called, or like Old Navy or whatever, specifically tailored to like where kids can have clothes meant for kids and stuff. But even then, I didn't think of it as stylish. I had to make myself look stylish in those kind of outfits. But now, like you literally see it on social media everywhere. Like there's parents that do outfitted days with their kids that are like below 8 years old or whatever that are super stylish, super hipster, looking really fashionable. They have like nice like loafers for like a 6 year old with a nice like fedora or whatever hat, and then their hair is all well done. They have these nice like vests for a little kid that they're just looking all dapper for. Like it's really dope. Early 2000s, yeah, like it was harder. It was like it was a rarity. You'll probably see more of those like animal print clothing or whatever, like
Y2K.
really really colorful clothing because that's what the Y2K style was. um and Yeah, it's very interesting, but I do appreciate the positive side of children's clothing now, where as a parent, I would love, like if I was a parent or in the future when I have kids, I want to be able to style my kids. Like I want to like go out there and present my kid to be like a stylish one. Maybe if they don't like it, if they start acting up or whatever, I'm not gonna force them to it. But at least there are more options for us to make our kids or whatever more presentable in a way, um
I would
and
definitely dress up my kid, or like even like my niece or nephew. I like spoil them with clothes,
yeah,
just make them look dapper.
yeah.
It's
I want to bring back again like the conversation we were having with the anti-male gaze outfits. Nightless was saying something about like it's unfortunate that there are few and far between unless the one female speaking up is asked to be present. So you're saying that you appreciate that women speak up and are doing that, voicing their thoughts about the anti-male gaze thing. Again, I agree with the whole like let's do this to prove a statement that like women are not just objects to be sexualized and looked at as like, oh, just because your skin is showing a little bit or you're wearing flip-flops and your toes are showing, and men are obviously like weird about that, like some men are weird about those kind of things, or like you're showing a little bit of cleavage or whatever it is. Like I appreciate that women are speaking up saying like, no, we're not objects, we're not tools, we're not someone you just can gawk at and like, glare because of our bodies. So I'm gonna wear something that is less revealing, which is ironic because literally like 2010 to 2020 before the pandemic happened, women are all about like hot girl summer, hoes don't get cold, like those phrases, like you hear those all the time. Like you'll hear,
you still hear it all the time.
yeah, like women wearing revealing clothes in like a freaking 30-degree weather, and saying like, no, we're just presenting, like we're not here to impress men, we're here to impress other women or ourselves, or we're here to like show that this is us. But now it's the opposite. All of a sudden, like I'm not gonna wear revealing clothes, but that's literally what most men were saying back in the day, especially people with partners. Where it'd be like, why are you going out to the club wearing really promiscuous clothing or like revealing clothes? But now you'll see women go to the clubs with streetwear, like baggy clothing. And it is like something that men were promoting back in the day, and then now we aren't promoting or not saying anything much because we want to empower you. We want to be proud of you dressing how you want to dress. Now it's the opposite. Like, no, they're not giving me the attention like I used to get. So now I'm gonna wear streetwear because I'm gonna make a statement because you're not giving me the attention when I was wearing that skimpy dress. Then fine, I'm not gonna reveal myself anymore. I'm like, what? Like the argument, like
It's yeah, it's
the math ain't
entitlement.
mathing. Uh,
He also said, like you'll get plenty of females on who rock their Coach, LV, etc., and they have a sense of entitlement towards it. There we go.
Almost as if
All
their
their
status.
status is based off of how much their partner makes, and that becomes what defines them. It's like raising the bar higher and higher for the income of who they can date into. And that's true. I would say that a lot of people, there is a good amount of people that I think just look at the income in general that their partner has. I think it's definitely something that to consider. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't, I don't, I think the demographic specifically here that where we live, it's impossible unless you're already like fortunate and like made enough money to like get to a point of like not having a partner that doesn't work.
yeah,
But it's impossible in the young era for only one person to hey, leave it. It's impossible for only one person to sustain a young marriage lifestyle.
yeah.
Both have to be working.
I,
That's just the demographic we live in though. I think
I,
like our specific area.
and I also agree. Like I love the fact that like yeah, women are not or they don't want to show like their superficial like or materialistic like belongings, like with like branded stuff, because they don't want to be presented as like, oh, the only reason why you have these things or lavish things is because of your partner or whatever, when a lot of women in this generation don't need partners to be successful in their lives, to have
Exactly.
money. They can support themselves in any way and style themselves however they want to, which is a great piece of that anti-male gaze like trend. But if the trend is just based off of we're
I
retaliating.
specifically want to not attract you. That's
Yeah,
why I
I
feel
want to
this way.
retaliate
Very
because yeah, I want to retaliate because feminism. Yeah, because screw you for the catcalling and screw you for not catcalling. So I'm gonna do this. You know that doesn't make sense to me. But I want to bring up. There's a lot of things relative to this. I love that. Someone said in my chat, "Do you believe that the reason people don't like slits or two-piece clothing is because people have sexualized and have made the showing of skin feel more of a promiscuous or shouldn't be talked about topic?" No, this is definitely something that I actually did mention. In the very beginning of this podcast, I was mentioning about fashion, how even women's fashion specifically have changed drastically over the courses of history. And I was mentioning how, like, specifically bikinis, most women back then, before women's suffrage was a law, when most women didn't have the freedom to present themselves in any way, to have a certain career, a certain job, to get paid equally like men are getting paid. Bikinis were one of the things that women were being forced to be more conservative with. So they were kind of encouraged to wear one piece bikinis, one piece suits out in the beach. And then women started rebelling against it and retaliating, so they started creating styles where it was a little bit more reveal, like where they show it a little
It's
bit
like
more
a two
skin.
piece,
Yeah,
but it covers like most of the stomach, but also has like an area that's like a little
yeah.
bit revealing, like
It went
like
from a one piece to a two piece that even had like those like
a
fake
high rise waist.
high rise waist with the skirt, so it's still technically kind of conservative. But then now it's a two piece in a sense that like there's a top and there's a bottom, but it's
Right.
still kind of covering parts of their bodies. And I have to agree that it was the men's fault for these reasons for why women had to present themselves differently through the courses of history. And then not until like it was July 5th, 1946. I remember the very first time where the modern day bikinis for women were apparent in society here in America. So they started trending with that kind of outfit. And then chat had even said, I do think the current income of your partner should be a consideration, but how they want to grow in the future and how they want to grow their income due to future engagements such as family or traveling, I believe it's how they want to grow based on how they and their partner want to live.
I
So
completely agree.
that's kind of, yeah, relative to what we're talking about in terms of like status and how you present themselves also,
But
which
I
is,
think it's like I think it's very specific to like I appreciate you, Nightless, for like like hearing that part specifically and resonating with that young marriage. If you're getting married at like 40 or 50 and you're both like very well sustained already, maybe you already have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. One of you doesn't need to get a job. I think that's a lot different. But like now it's like we got college debt. You got to think about getting a house. You got to think
yeah,
about like the possible savings for having a kid and everything like that. So it's like when you're 40, 50, maybe you already have a kid. Maybe you
yeah,
already have a wife or a house. Maybe you already paid off your student debt. So like that's just those are three things that you don't need to
yeah,
worry about in terms of finances. But when you're young, you have to think about all of that.
yeah,
And that's where the consideration of the income comes from. You don't someone's making $80,000 a year, let's say, which is below the min, and another person is making $20,000. Are you gonna settle for the $20,000 person
but wait,
because they have good clothing?
how's that? Oh, because good clothing. Oh, presenting themselves in a way that as if that they're lavish. Yeah, so let's bring it to
The
that too.
income I think is important, but also like the
Yeah,
way that you present yourself like is kind of like a scapegoat.
yeah.
Can be.
Oh yeah, yeah. People will put on a facade based off of fashion. Like people will definitely dress a certain way to put on a facade and pretend like there's something that they're not. Even relative to someone had said on the chat, on the YouTube chat, I feel like people are used to be pressured or are pressured to dress a certain way at the club. But now that pressure is not really there, and people can be more expressive, which is true because again, clubs especially, the way that they would make income or make more money is depending on how many girls show up versus how many guys, like the ratio of guys and girls. So they make men dress a certain way to be more presentable and professional. Literally, I remember going to the clubs and being told I have to wear a button down. I had to wear a button down to go to a club.
Well,
While women,
there's like a dress code in clubs.
yeah, there's a dress code for men, but then all of a sudden for women, like, wear whatever you want. You could come in here in a bikini and we'll let you in.
I
But
thought the dress code was
well, it was
like a
like,
skirt.
yeah, like dresses, skirts, whatever. No, like women definitely had less restrictions at the clubs back in the day than men did. Even men weren't allowed to wear hats. Men weren't allowed to wear open-toed shoes, but women can dress however. It
I
was
think
really
that's still
interesting.
current.
Yeah. And then one more in the chat on Twitch. They said, if you're young, you can't really expect someone young to have such a large income because of how hard it is to get a good income job. It depends. It's
It
also
depends.
it's also depending now, especially in this society, right? I know, I would say kids. I call them kids if they're if they're not 18, they're kids. I know kids who are making millions of dollars that are less than 18 years old through social media because of platforms that they can access now. Crypto, whatever it may be, creating their own businesses at a young age. I remember a kid got a lawsuit from Disney because he made a brand that had like Disney characters in it and got like a major lawsuit from Disney because he was making millions of dollars off of Shopify and then had his parents' name on the business. So Disney thought that these were adults monetizing Disney stuff, and it turned out it was like a 12-year-old kid that was like a multimillionaire, right? So like that really depends now too. And then there are other forms of methods, like other methods that allow men and women have better income even at the age of 18. And I don't need to even say it, but you know what websites or platforms they are that help them achieve a certain source of income or form of wealth based off of these platforms. So now that's the reason why, like even with fashion, there are a lot of people will just who are most especially like in demographics that are not financially literate, because that is a thing. Truthfully, realistically, there are many places in the world that are so many people that are still financially illiterate, meaning they don't understand the ideas of like a 401k, like investments and savings and bank accounts, purposes of like what it means to pay your taxes and etc. and all that stuff. So these young folks, they may make millions of dollars and they'll still, they'll splurge. They'll buy branded things like Louis, Gucci, like Burberry, like all these other brands and show these off. But even now, there's different statuses of being rich. And this is a conversation that I shared with Wes a couple of days ago. There's there's a type of person that is rich versus a type of person that is wealthy. I always look at, I can identify wealthy people by how they present themselves in two ways. Wealthy people no longer care about how they present themselves, how they look out there in the world, because they have no one to impress. Wealthy people know that they're at the top of the pyramid. They're literally the highest peak. So who are they to impress anyone based off of how they look? Wealthy people don't impress others based off of their clothing. Wealthy people impress others based off of their other belongings or special things that they know that they can buy with their money, like having a yacht, having a bigger house, having multiple cars. Even then, sometimes having multiple cars isn't like a lavish thing. Wealthy people sometimes will have the most simplest point A to point B vehicle, and they'll dress like ordinary people out there, but you won't ever recognize them being wealthy unless they present themselves in that certain way, right? They don't care. Rich people, for example, though, there are a lot of rich people now. Like there's a lot of millionaire kids, millionaire teens, millionaire like 30-year-olds, and all they do is spend all their money on branded things to show off how rich they are, how much money they have. I mean, good example is like the streaming platforms. Like on Kick, for example, we see a lot of these streamers buy all these lavish things to present themselves in certain ways that don't really align with their values or their morals. They'll be like, "Oh, look at me. I just bought like 3 Lamborghinis and I wear all these branded clothes and I have all these expensive watches." But they're still really shitty ass people at the end of the
Jack
day.
Doherty.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna name the name, but kid was actually on Jerry Springer or something like that, like, or was it Jerry or Maury, whatever it was. Um,
You got
so
someone on your chat.
yeah, someone in my chat. What about for the people who may not be able to have these opportunities or wish to keep their dignity for their beliefs or for themselves? Most of the people with these large income platforms come from well-off families who can help them start up or teach them how to work the system, which is
It's two answers. there's definitely two answers. There's the personal beliefs part for their beliefs or for themselves. Like that's one person. We can't mix them into the same person. There's people that have beliefs, and then there's people that have the lack of opportunities.
Yeah.
The people that have the lack of opportunities, you have to hustle and you create this survivability mentality, which is just nonstop go, 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 go. Even though you're making, let's say, 6 digits, that's still not enough. And that will be ingrained in you forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the possibilities. You create the possibilities in order to make sure that you survive.
Yeah.
That is the mentality. The people with beliefs, I mean, that's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
That's a lifestyle choice.
Like moral values or belief systems is really a personal thing, right? So it's up to them how they want to present themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, that's what fashion is about. How it defines us, right? Fashion is based off of our moralistic values. Like we can be more conservative and wear less promiscuous clothing, or even that word promiscuous is such a like a subjective vague thing.
It's like
But
moist. It's a
but
weird word.
yeah. Um, but it's okay. You're still identifying and still presenting yourself in the way that you want to dress based off of your moral values. But in
Right.
terms of like having nicer clothes, that's also very subjective. Because like let's say for the ones that don't have opportunities, a backstory. I don't need to name who the person is on this chat, but I know you know I'm talking to you, based off of the comment you made. But a backstory about me, which you didn't know about, I came from a life of poverty. Like I, I was in a home that was probably the size of this studio space or the space that I'm in right now, recording this, with three older siblings, a cousin and auntie, and my mom living all in the same place. Have one bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, and our hot water didn't even exist. We had to go to a well on the other block and literally pump that water out of the well and then heat it up in the oven or in the stove and heat it up with a fire. And then that's our hot water for the morning when we shower, right? Like that's the kind of lifestyle I had when I was growing up. I was straight. Like when I talk about the ghetto, I mean like the ghetto, like slums ghetto. That's the life I was living. And not until I moved here, we were still very like frugal with our expenses, the way we would spend things based off of my dad was the only one providing for us. My mom was a stay-at-home mom taking care of four kids, but he had to sustain us. So a lot of the clothing that I had was hand-me-downs from my older siblings. And I had to find ways. Again, the opportunity was based off of my own actions. I knew where my family came from. I knew what kind of identity we had. Um, but I made myself become something I wanted to be, which in truth, yeah, like I have a very materialistic, superficial mentality, but I wouldn't say I'm like super materialistic. But I do believe I had goals that allowed me to be comfortable in a space I want to be in based off of how I dress. So that's why even when I was younger, I knew all my middle school friends, they had their parents giving them money so that they could buy their new pair of Jordans. While I was over there hustling, selling like little trinkets and items from my home, I would literally sneak out anything I see from my house and sell it out there to like other people. I made duct tape wallets. I made wallets
Oh,
out
those
of
were sick.
I made wallets out of duct tapes in middle school and sold that to get money so that I could buy my new pair of Jordans. Or
Damn,
I
did you
would
start that trend?
or don't arrest me. Don't tell anybody about this. I used to use LimeWire and get like album copies of like
Ah,
different,
everyone did.
yeah,
Everyone did. Don't worry.
different like music. Every time some new CD came out, I would make LimeWire DVD, burn some CDs, and I'll sell it on campus. I'll go to
Selling
Costco
my
and
Halloween candy. Oof.
yeah, I was selling. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to make them. Yeah, no, I was telling my how. You know what I would do? You know how like in middle school and high school you had the what are those those like your school would tell you it's for fundraising, so they would make you sell all these like different like
Candy bars,
yeah, the
lollipops.
chocolates, the candy bars, or like the things
Yeah,
that's on
chocolate.
the pamphlet. Like you get like
Yep.
those things. Yeah, yeah. I remember we would sell those things and try to make money off it so we could get like stuff, right? But what I
Yeah.
always do, I flipped that. I told my dad, Dad, we go to Costco, we buy the boxes of chocolates, like the chocolate bar, the M&M, Snicker bars, all that stuff, Skittles. We'll buy those boxes, and I'll take it back to my school, and I'll sell them for $2, $3 a piece, a candy, because we didn't have them in our vending machines. So I would sell them. My dad would pay $15 for a box of those like 30 set candies, and I'd sell each candy bar for $2, $3, and that's my hustle. Like,
Hell yeah,
yeah,
dude.
I made opportunities for myself. So in that sense, like opportunities to become something or present yourself in a certain way, I think it's possible for many people. But I think the very last part of what you said, or most of the people with these large income platforms come from well-off families who can help them start up or teach them how to work the system. I really love that you mentioned that, because this was a conversation I had with my partner, along with Wes, and our other friends. A lot of people in social media, even on YouTube, there's so many people out there on YouTube who are like, I quit my 9 to 5 job so that I can become a full-time content creator, and now I'm making money off of content. And they're like encouraging all these other people to quit their livelihoods so that they can go become content creators, not realizing that content creation is also a very hard space. It's still a job in itself, and you have to put a lot of effort before you can start making a solid amount of income from it. And the only reason why these people are making income on YouTube as content creators is because they have the privilege. They already had the privilege of having a 9 to 5, 6-figure job. So they saved up enough money to be able to quit their job so that they can go full time and hope for the best in their content creation.
It's an
So
oversaturated space as well. Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
And back on the well-off families, yeah, nepo babies will take advantage of their trust funds and all the money that they're being given, and the jobs and businesses that their families already carry and own and legacy. So it's easier for them to be able to represent themselves in a certain way, even with fashion.
I mean, I
um
think it all comes down to privilege.
yeah.
You're privileged to have the opportunity to have your parents literally coach you how to financially be successful.
Yeah. And
Because
it
most of the time, your parents are too busy working in this today's society. They're too busy working to even spend time with you,
yeah.
let alone coach you.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, my dad, when I was growing up, I didn't meet my dad until I was 6 years old. But every time, because he was providing for us, he was working overseas while we were still in the Philippines.
Oh
But every
man.
time I asked for a gift, I said, I want a bike. My dad would say, I'm not gonna get. It's like you know what they say in in church. You don't pray for what you want. You pray for the strength to get what you want. Right? Like God, I don't want, or whatever, universe, whatever, higher power, I want to be a millionaire. You don't pray to become a millionaire. You pray for the wisdom and knowledge to become a millionaire, right? Like that's what they teach you. So my dad would do that same thing. Growing up, I would say, Dad, for my birthday, I want a bike. My dad would say, well, I'm not going to give you the money. I'm not going to buy the bike for you. You know what he bought me? He bought me a pedicab. He bought me a bike with a freaking attachment where you can give people rides. So he said, make do of that as you will. Make do of that of what I gave you, and do something with it. So I said, I don't want a pedicab. I still want a bike. So you know what I did with that? At 6 years old, man, I think I was even 5 years old. At 5 years old, I was giving people rides in my neighborhood in the Philippines and charging them 5 pesos. And 5 pesos back then was expensive as hell. I was charging them 5 pesos a ride, and it was like a 30-minute ride because this tiny little kid, like having a passenger sit with them, and then trying to take them back home, which was probably like 2 or 3 blocks away, but takes us 30 minutes when it could have taken them probably 5 minutes to walk. But
Oh
my
yeah,
neighbors
man.
would do it. They'd still ride, and but that was my hustle. I was making money because my dad, you're right, like my dad showed me, if you want something, you got to be creative and come make up something to be able to have the income to,
But but that's
you
like
know,
a life lesson. That's not like
yeah.
he's not coaching you. He's spending the little time that he has to like give you some sort of like
Yeah.
wisdom.
And I think that's the
Like that's
closest.
very like that's really good. Like I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's like the closest thing in terms of financial literacy that I was receiving, like growing up. But going back to the comment that one of the people in the chat said, like, what about for the people that don't have the opportunities? I think the opportunity that is lacking is that the financial literacy, the space where people are being taught what it's like to actually save, or how to save properly, not just putting it in your piggy bank or putting it in a bank, because the bank is actually just robbing you left and right. The more you give them more money. or putting them in the piggy bank. It's actually useless because it's sitting there and it's not accruing interest or it's not gaining more out of it. So there's a whole lot of things based off of opportunity. I think it's more of the knowledge that is not being given as that opportunity space. Uh, how do you think banks rob you? A good example. You put in a deposit and now you want to withdraw a certain amount, and then the bank tells you, oh, before you do that, I have to charge you a service fee of $3. You go to Vegas and you go to an ATM machine. I'm going to go withdraw my hard-earned $50, but you're charging me $3 just for me to get my hard-earned money?
It's convenience fee.
What?
It's not the banks. Those
Right?
are ATMs.
Where do you think the ATMs?
If you get, well,
But
I guess, but those are
yeah,
investments by the banks.
but
But they're also like third-party tech
but
companies.
also another
If
thing.
you go to an ATM that's your own bank, you don't get charged anything.
But also, okay, let's go back to the banks. So you're agreeing ATMs are a different company? Yes. Okay, sometimes.
It's service charge because it's not your
Yeah,
bank.
because it's
Because
not
you're
in the bank.
borrowing from another
But
person's bank.
hold on. But banks, I know we're kind of off tangent. We're supposed to be talking about fashion, but
It's fine.
banks also with having a savings account or having an account in general, having a checkings account. I'm not gonna name the banks because later down the road I might no longer have any partnership or sponsorship. But banks, this is money fashion. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So
Fashion
banks,
is money. Ooh.
like for you to have a certain checkings account or savings account in certain banks, you have to pay a monthly fee. That's
Bro,
taking.
what banks are you using?
What banks are you using to not have monthly fees? Unless you're not seeing the hidden fees that you better check
I
your
don't get
banks.
fees at all.
I know my partner has a monthly fee. I know I have a monthly fee. No matter what bank I go to, there will always be monthly fees.
Is that a
Um,
credit card? Usually has credit cards.
I guess it also
A yearly
depends.
fee.
Yeah, you don't have monthly fees because you have a certain amount or threshold in your savings. That's their trick. There is one particular bank, they said if you have less than $2,500 in your savings account, you are going to pay a service fee or a monthly fee of like $5 or $10. That will be taken out of your own checkings account.
Yeah, but no one's
See,
gonna join
see,
that
I
bank
don't have
fully
monthly
knowing.
fees. I don't have monthly fees, but I have to deposit $500 every month, or the monthly fees will exist. So that's what I mean about the whole the banks are just robbing you by just keeping your money in these places. There's
I mean,
not
I've
many
had
banks
the
who do.
same bank since I was like 13.
The main branch banks do that pretty often. The main big ones out there.
I don't
Um,
use the main big ones.
but let's get back to fashion.
Go
Let's
to a
go.
credit union.
I don't like
Get
credit union,
smart. Go to a
but
credit union.
I don't like there's a reason for it. But yeah, I have my own. Yeah. Anyways, so fast fashion. There was a question. What do you think about? How do you guys feel about fast fashion? Uh, the credit card thing is different though. Credit card, that's interest. That's something else. But even that, there's a whole aspect of it. But fast fashion. How do you feel about fast fashion? What do you think, Wes? How do you feel about fast fashion?
Wait, what is it?
Fast fashion. Like,
Fast fashion?
yeah, fast fashion is like Forever 21, H and
Did you
M.
just take like speed or something? Like you're talking about fast fashion and you're like, yeah, fast fashion.
No, like yeah, like fast fashion. Like what do you think of fast fashion? Like Forever 21, H&M, Urban Outfitters,
Trash quality. Trash quality. I used to be a lover of
Shein.
H&M, and then I got a little bit into maybe Hollister for a little bit in
Yeah.
high school, but it's trash quality. It's really trash. It's
Um,
cheap, but it's not sustainable. I think I would always rip my pants whenever I went
actually,
to H&M. It's just too uh it's too straight fitted. It's too tight, I would say. I mean, it's a European company.
um, someone is asking, who all is joining on the podcast? The call, I mean. I think they did. You want to share your thoughts, inputs? We would love to have you actually chime in if you're willing to. But the thing is, with the podcast, you also have to have
There's a
your
rule.
yeah. I know you have to show your camera. You have to have your camera on. But I know you're a VTuber or PNG tuber, so I don't want to expose your identity. Um, oh yeah, yeah. It could be your PNG if you wanna. It's on the Discord chat. Um, yeah. she's been in our Discord for a while. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but fast fashion. So someone actually even said it. Uniqlo is also fast fashion. You said fast fashion is trash. What do you think of Uniqlo? Because you do buy from Uniqlo all the time.
You didn't date Uniqlo. I
Yeah.
got baited. Everyone, I got baited. You said H&M, Forever 21, Hollister, those type of brands. I think that those type of brands are specifically like fast fashion more.
Oh, that's
I think that they
awesome.
are.
We got a
So that is
PNG
really
tuber.
cool.
I
Hello,
just got this
JJ.
today.
It's a
That's
little bug
awesome.
face too. That's
It
sick.
is.
This is sick. What's up, JJ?
Hello.
Um, would you like to share your thoughts, especially particularly about fast fashion? Or
I
did
gotta
you?
look up what's fast fashion.
Well, so fast fashion is like brands that are like Forever
Would you say it's
21.
retail?
Yeah,
So
it's
like Shein and
yeah,
Temu.
Retail
Shein, Fashion
fashion is
Nova, H&M, Urban Outfitters, like brands that don't necessarily have their own design clothing. They literally wholesale their clothes or capture them from different brands and actually resell it onto their own company. So like Urban Outfitters, they like to have multiple and like different style, like different clothings from different companies, and then they'll sell it into Urban Outfitters, but it's still considered fast fashion.
So is fast fashion specifically the company Urban Outfitters, or is it specifically the clothing that they are selling?
That's a good question. I think it's a
Ooh.
little bit of both.
What is it? Is it price range?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. It's the company that provides these clothing that's easily accessible for the everyday folks. And it's also the clothing themselves. Because someone had said it on the chat, the reason for it to be considered fast fashion is because of the labor practices. Like, because they sell clothes based on trends, but they also like the labor practices in these companies are completely horrible. They're always making their workers underpaid for and work many hours, like literal like sweatshops. Like they suffer a lot and they go through a lot of like um unseen, undocumented, like concerning health, like health concerns in the workplace. The work environment is never really that safe. um these are these
I would say
companies.
it is about affordability though in terms
Yeah.
of fast fashion, because I don't think that like Gucci or like the upper class of fashion brands, I wouldn't say they're affordable. I wouldn't say they're fast. Like you have to work to get them.
Yeah.
I would say fast fashion is I would define it as it's easy to attain.
Yeah, affordable
That's
clothing.
why it's fast.
Hot Topic, yes, is considered fast fashion.
I would.
Because Hot Topic literally sells miscellaneous things, especially graphic tees. They're known for like miscellaneous
Yeah,
graphic
they're like
tees.
$20 t.
Yeah. What's the other one? Cotton On. Cotton On is also fast fashion.
Super fast fashion.
Yeah. Um, but JJ, what do you think about that? What do you think about fast fashion?
So from what I'm listening to, I believe that you guys are talking about the work behind fast fashion, but from the definitions that I've been looking up, fast fashion is actually the business model.
Yeah, the
So the
company.
business model of coming out with these quick, easy, and cheap versions of these popular clothings, like clothing brands. So specifically, so if I'm talking about the clothing specifically, I believe that the only issue there is the way that they are getting the clothing. So these sweatshops, these clothings, the overseas
Hmm.
companies. But fast fashion in itself, like if we're not talking about how we're getting it, I believe is fine, kind of, because it's making cheap and affordable clothing. So like off brand.
Yeah.
And it's making it to where people who are low income, low, can't get that high of a job, like college students and such, can stay on the trend, can stay, you
Yeah.
know, wearing the clothes that they want to wear and not feel like that they don't fit in because they don't have all of these um, Adidas, Gucci clothing
Yep.
that everybody else has.
I like that. I love that you're very honest and transparent. Haha, see what I did there? But about your thoughts about that. But that's what we want to hear. Because in terms of the practices behind fast fashion, I don't condone it. But the affordable and accessible way of fast fashion is what I do appreciate in this society, especially for that particular reason. I mean, I was the same. I used to go to H&M and would go crazy for like brands that would even do like high fashion brands that would do collaboration with H&M was a thing. Like I remember I would go to H&M and I would camp out. I would be like sitting in a lawn chair outside of H&M before they open up the next day because they have this collaboration with a high luxury brand, and people would go crazy and like go in there and resell those clothes. For me, it was more of like that idea that when I was growing up, I couldn't attain like going to Burberry. I couldn't go to like, you know, Brunelli Cucinelli, like really wealthy like luxury brands, but I could go to H&M and find clothing that has collaboration with high luxury brands, so I could still allow myself to be identified as someone that has style or is
Like
trending,
a glimpse
right?
of that
Um,
high
Hmm.
level.
and and that's what I appreciate about fast fashion. Again, I don't support or condone their labor practices, but I wish that there was a better way of being able to present themselves in the fast fashion industry, right? Because if they can find a way to be both eco-friendly and also like really helpful to the workforce and the labor practices that they have, but still be able to maintain this fast fashion identity where they can produce mass surplus amount of clothing that is trending during this time frame, then I would totally be up for it. Because that's what fast fashion is. Like literally after the season, imagine where all those other clothes that are no longer trending go. There's steps to it. So let's say for example, Old Navy, Gap, it's the same. Like that, I would consider them as fast fashion. They're the fast fashion of the Banana Republic identity or Gap's identity. So Old Navy and Gap, once they are no longer trending in the certain clothing that they're selling, the next season they put them in the like wholesale like Gaps. Like they'll sell them in the outlet stores. So it'll be like Gap outlet or Old Navy outlets. And then when they're no longer selling there, where do you think it goes? It's just tossed away, disposed of, and the practices on that is just really, really toxic to the environment. So I don't really condone those things. But I wish there were other ways where they could maybe even give it to people who are less fortunate, right? Um, be able to have
Like
an
recycle it.
recycle, have an opportunity to give it to people. And that's why I love thrift shopping. Like, depending, no matter my status or my financial stability, I still to this day, I mean, maybe less now after the pandemic had happened, because I think I'm more of a germaphobe now than I've ever been before since the pandemic. But after the like before the pandemic, thrift shopping was my thing. I don't care if someone just gave me a $20,000 check in my bank account and I put that in there and I can access it anytime I want. Hell no, I'm gonna go to that thrift shop and still buy that $10 shirt that I found that I know is stylish.
I mean, not
Um,
according to your bank. You can't access it whenever you want.
you're right, I can't access it to my like because my bank says I have to pay them before I use my own money.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
It's still related to topic, but
Yes.
do y'all believe that
No.
fast fashion,
Yeah.
I can't talk. Fast fashion is I
It's okay. It's okay. That's
Patchin.
good.
I
Okay,
call it
This
y'all
is why
patchin,
you're
okay?
this is why you're
Me and my
PNG
sister
tuber.
call it patchin.
Yeah.
no, you're messing up.
Your
Okay, so
PNG
do y'all
tuber is
believe
perfect.
that
Yeah.
fast fashion could be specifically aiming towards low quality, but you can buy it because it's cheap? Because I've bought off of Temu or Shein before, and I've had like clothing from there. They break soon, and then
Hmm.
if I need it again, I can just buy it again. But it's kind of like
You don't want to
it's
keep
kind of
buying
like
it, then it's a waste.
yeah, but because people who are lower income are unable to buy the clothing that they need that's good quality soon. So like let's say that I have a dance coming up and I need a dress, but I can't buy this $400 dress at the
Hmm.
mall. I can buy one from Temu, Shein, or whatever else is selling it for a cheaper cost. I
Yeah.
buy it and it's like you buy it at a cheap cost, but it's really only like a 5-time use before
Yeah.
it disintegrates and fall apart.
That's literally like Forever 21.
I would
H&M
Yeah,
say
too.
I would probably only use those in very specific situations because I know that it's gonna break
Yeah.
yeah,
after a certain
but
amount of uses.
do you have the money to be able to buy like good quality clothing that won't fall apart?
Um.
I
Yeah.
won't ask you specifically, but like just saying like if you have the money, of course you can use that as an option to like
Yeah.
I only buy it if I need to. But there's people out there who can't and buy
Yeah.
it actually to go to college or to go out and
Yeah.
that's what they're wearing to like present themselves.
I again, I think it's acceptable in a way as long as you, as the customer or consumer, is not being fooled or betrayed. So
But
if we put
that's
it,
almost Oh, I'm sorry,
go
continue.
ahead, go ahead. That's almost what.
Oh, that's almost specifically what they're doing
Well,
because
yeah.
they're doing this business tactic. That's what fast fashion is.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting cheap clothing at cheap prices so that you can buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to fall apart, obviously.
And then
You're
you'll
getting
keep
what
coming
you
back.
pay for.
Yeah.
Yep, because it's fallen apart.
So
And
But
you
this
then
is
can't buy like
by the time that you need to
yeah.
go get a new one, it's probably a new season. So
Yeah.
you can't even get that same one that you bought.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, but here's the thing for me. And this is how I looked at how I started to dress, or even how I started to invest my my money in a way that I feel like, okay, this is justifiable. So a lot of people back then, when I was still younger, probably like in my early 20s, I started to buy more expensive things. I literally, my very first most expensive pairs of leather shoes was about $1,200. So it was $1,200. And this was when I was like in my early 20s. But I also I was working in companies and in luxury spaces. So I needed to present myself in a way that also aligned with those spaces. So obviously, as a young 20-year-old in this job I was working at, I didn't have that income to be able to really say like, yeah, I'm worth a $2,000 pair of shoes every day kind of guy. But it's like kind of putting yourself in a space of like doing the math, like really
Setting
essentially
up your own expectations.
setting up your expectations of how you're going to use it, when you're going to use it, and how long you're going to be using it for. So these pairs of shoes, I still to this day wear it, and it's been 14 years since I've owned these pair of shoes. And I knew that if I were to spend my money for a $1,200 pair of shoes, I knew it was going to last me more than X amount of years, right? And to this day, I still have it. And this is a pair of shoes that I can bring back to any like shoe cleaner or like someone that do shoe repairs and just replace the sole for me and spend less on it. Because if you think about it this way, so the reason why I agree it's okay to be doing like be supporting fast fashion or be in the space of fast fashion, as long as you're not being fooled into what their business tactic is, which is essentially what you said. Um, you buy something knowing that it's gonna break down or tear up or whatever, have damages to it, literally after a few times of wearing it. So then you're forced to go buy more of their brand. To me, I would look at it and say, yes, what am I gonna be wearing this for? Am I buying this for a one-time event and that's it? Then okay, I'm okay with being able to present myself in this clothing, not because it's like what represents me or whatever, or because I care about how people look at me. I'm gonna buy this because it's the most feasible, logical thing because it's the least expensive, and I know that I'm only gonna be wearing it 2 or 3 times in my lifetime, anyways. So I'm willing to purchase this, but there are instances where I'm like, do I want that jacket because it's expensive and people will know it's expensive? Or do I want that jacket because I know I like it and I know it'll last me a long time? Even if I wore that jacket every single day of my life, inside my home and outside my home, every single day, how many years is it going to last me to wear that jacket if I paid for it for that price? I think that's how I look at it when I present myself in that space. Um, I
I'm
still,
just not gonna buy from Shein or Temu.
yeah. I I
Yeah,
per-
me neither.
I personally would go to H&M. I actually don't remember the last time I stepped foot in H&M, let alone do they even still exist? I know
They still exist,
I
yeah.
know
Yeah, they do.
I know
I
Forever
know it still
21
exists.
went bankrupt, but
They're still existent.
there's still some spaces. Yeah. Um
I
yeah.
personally, if you have the means to, Zara is like the next level up from H&M.
But they're
Their
like 10 times worse
quality.
in labor practices.
Are they really?
Yeah, they actually got like sued multiple
Oh,
times. But they are in quality
well, Shein
wise.
is the worst. They
Yeah.
literally like got like blown out the water, and people still buy them.
If you
Like
were
no
to
one
buy
cares.
based on people's practices, you would never be able to buy anything.
That's true cuz I mean even
Everybody is bad in some way.
yeah, even luxury
Yeah.
brands have their
I
own
mean, business is business.
yeah.
You need to save money in order to make money.
There are certain fast fashion that I do support. Not being biased just because I worked with the companies, but Uniqlo, for example, which is a Japanese retail clothing that is becoming more prominent here in the U.S. They're still mainly like in the West and East Coast, not more so in like Midwest or like the central parts of the U.S. But Uniqlo is very prominent with fast fashion, but in a way with they sell for affordable pricing but high quality. Um,
But
but
what are the labor practices? Because they are
slight,
an Asian brand.
slightly better actually because this was they got in a lawsuit or they almost got in a lawsuit for it, but then they were able to prove that they are not actually. So it's something about their jeans. So jeans actually. So a little background. I know we're over 9 o'clock. I want to take this until 9:30 because this is a great
That's fine.
conversation.
That's fine. Let's do it.
But I also love to hear JJ's perspectives on these things because it's pretty awesome. But
I'm
Uniqlo,
amazing.
yeah. So Gap actually, I think it was back in 2008, they got a lawsuit for their labor practices and the toxins that were coming out of their jean production, so their pants. So there's a certain dye, there's a certain color and dye that Gap used to use in their pants to make that color, like that dark shaded color of blue, and
Or
in
denim.
the different shades of the denim. And what they were doing actually in labor practices, they were mass producing this so much, but the toxins that were coming out of these dyes were being dumped into the water areas like that, the reservoir essentially that also produces water that is drink like that people drink in these different parts of places where they have these factories. So they were poisoning people because of the mass production that they were doing uh, in these places. And so Uniqlo actually also had to go through these things and had to make sure that their labor practices were fair. And they started even making videos that they would present in each Uniqlo store where it shows a demonstration of how their stitchings were made, the pants were made, the clothes, all like jackets and everything. And you could see like a sample video of it, like a commercial video in the stores. They'll show you that their practices are fair. But I like Uniqlo because they really do touch base on people who don't have the means to be able to buy luxurious clothes, but they're timeless pieces and also trending. There are certain jackets that you could get only in certain seasons. There are certain pants or skirts or whatever you can get in certain seasons, but they will also have very timeless pieces like this Airism baggy shirt. So I actually rolled it up.
Boxy.
Uh, they come. I have almost every single color, and they're only like, especially if they're on sale, they're like $12.99, $13 for a t-shirt.
That's on the low. It's usually like 15, 20.
Yeah, and that's on the low, and even that to some people is still considered expensive. But if you're comparing a $13 shirt in this quality, and I can keep washing this, I can literally wear this for 30 minutes, put it in a washer, dry it and everything, and wear it again, and still be the same quality, same color, hasn't faded, hasn't shrunk. For $13, I'll do it. I'll buy it. Uniqlo has even proven through time because Uniqlo has been around in Japan for years and years. People have had Uniqlo jeans, the pants themselves, since like the 80s. They would come back to the Uniqlo stores now and get them tailored because as long as they're Uniqlo branded, you can get them tailored there for free. And that's the thing too. They have the practice where you can get them tailored for free. But I remember this guy came into a Uniqlo store that had pants that they've had since the 80s or 90s or whatever. And the pants, the dye, the color, and everything still looked like it was a brand new pair of pants. But you could literally tell in the tag that it was like an older model or older style of pants that you
That's
can no longer
crazy.
get. And that's why I approve of Uniqlo so much and wear a lot of their clothing is because I know that I can spend like $20 for something and know that it'll last me years and years to come and still be able to have quality for it.
I would say that Uniqlo is honestly one of the more affordable brands.
Yeah.
Just in general, because like even $15 for a t-shirt, $20 for a t-shirt, dude, you can't find a shirt under $10. That is,
You probably can at H&M, but it's probably gonna last you
it's
one
probably
wear.
a white tee.
Yeah, a
It's
one,
probably a white tee.
and it's
It's
like,
not gonna be an actual t-shirt that
and
has
it's
some
like
sort of
so
design
thin, like it's
inside
like
of it.
paper thin, like, and so you
Yeah,
put it in the washer and then you take it out, and
a
next thing you know,
literal
there's a hole in it.
the only shirt that you could get probably under $10 is probably a white tee, like a Hanes 3-pack.
Yeah.
That's it. There's even like custom like graphic art shirts at Target that are like really cringe with like stick figures or something, or like Spider-Man or
Or more high
Wolverine.
quality than.
They're still like 15,
Yeah.
20 bucks.
Yeah. I do rock with Fruit of the Loom. Actually, no, not anymore. Not Fruit of the Loom. It's Hanes. It's the Hanes shirts. I love Hanes shirts.
I
White
was gonna
tees.
say Fruit of the Loom, I think
Yeah, it's the lesser
got
quality.
caught with stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, JJ, I got a question for you because this was a conversation that I had with Wes offline. How do you feel about luxury brands or brands that are out there now more prominently promoting and glamorizing like streetwear, like ghetto streetwear? And what I mean by that, in explanation to that, a good
Bummy.
like bummy style, bummy clothing. So, like for example, Balenciaga, Alexander Wang, all these high fashion luxury brands are creating, even Chuck Taylor's, their Golden Goose brand. Their Golden Goose brand is literally presenting shoes that look like they've been worn, stepped on, torn, and scratched and everything. But they're like,
Oh, there was I forgot to tell you about this. Did you see the freaking piss pants?
no, I
There's
don't.
a literal pair of pants that's like $2,500, and it's a fake piss
Stain. Yeah,
from the crotch.
yeah. See, like,
Ew.
so what do
So
you?
it's literally called piss stain pants.
Yeah, so Golden Goose, for example, they sell their shoes for 700, sometimes 500 to like $1,000 for a pair of shoes that look like it's been thrown in the dumps and then like got ran over by a truck and mud was splattered all over it, and it's a $700 brand new pair of shoes. Um, Kanye West, the Yeezy line, for example, literally sold like hoodies and t-shirts for $400 $500 a piece, but they're literal clothing that have tear in them, holes in it, like it looks like it was burnt, like, and he would even say, yeah, we actually like would burn the pieces of the clothing first and then like create this character to it and then sell it for $500 a piece. What do you
So
think? What do you
before
think?
I answer this question, I need to ask,
Yeah.
are you talking your definition of streetwear clothing? Are you talking about the quality, so like it's ripped, it's teared, it's like all this? Or are you talking about streetwear clothing such as specific clothing like cargo pants or specific t-shirts or such?
I think it's not. I wasn't.
I had this question for him too,
That's
because I don't think that bomb and streetwear are the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. I don't. I guess I'm not trying to identify streetwear as like the bummy look, because like streetwear isn't bummy. You can have really fashionable streetwear, but I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like literal street wear. Like, so the what I mean by that. So I think it was in the early, not Y2K. I think this was already 2010, maybe 2011. Uh, there was a Chinese man. So I found out just recently it was actually a Chinese man that was captured by a photographer, dressed up like super bummy, a homeless person. It was a homeless person in Asia. At first I thought it was a Japanese man, but apparently it's Chinese. That's why I identified the person as Chinese. I'm not just saying that out of whatever. But this man was a homeless man, but wearing clothing that looked very stylish. People considered it as like, oh wow, this is stylish. I'm gonna actually pull it up and then I'm gonna show the entire screen so everyone could see it. Um, and the crazy thing is, you go on Google and you type in Japanese homeless fashion, and this is the first thing that shows up. So let me put it out there. So for everybody watching my stream, I'm showing it right now on my stream, and it's this person, and this is streetwear, is what I consider streetwear. Like this look that this man has, right? And this ended up trending all over social media, and people started talking about how this homeless person could look so stylish and look so cool that designer brands started creating fashion shows literally with styles like that. Like they even call it the homeless inspired fashion collection. Homeless inspired fashion collection, which is crazy to me. Um,
Yeah, it's this.
so I'm gonna close this now, and then I'll put this on watch the stream so people. Yeah, so Japanese homeless person. Um, so I was telling Wes that luxury brands or high fashion brands love to romanticize and glamorize poverty. Because, like, for example, when Adam Sandler started trending, because like TMZ would take photographs of him, and every time they cited him, and they found him in different places, and he was always wearing just casual clothing and really, really baggy clothes, most especially like basketball shorts that didn't fit him at all. Um, all of a sudden people were like, "Oh my god, that's so cool of him. He's so cool for wearing those things." And then you start seeing Ben Affleck and all these other celebrities dressing like that, where they're just like bummy, like they just woke up and decided to just go out in public and dress like that. All of a sudden, people started romanticizing and glamorizing these styles. So that's why, like, in 2012, all the way up until now, you're starting to see luxury brands creating these clothing styles that are literally like a depiction of what low income households or homeless people are even wearing out there. But now it's branded as, oh, Alexander Wang, or branded as Balenciaga. So because it's Balenciaga, it's going to cost you $800 just to wear a baggy, torn up shirt. What do
You're
you
paying
think?
for the label. But I think it's evolved. I don't think it's that he specifically, and like I brought this up before off the stream. I don't think he's specifically bummy. I think that he's specifically dad bod. He has that dad bod look
Oh,
and he's
Adam
not
Sandler?
afraid to like show it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam Sandler. And that's what like really got him like popular, is because it's like he's not like the other celebrities where
Yeah.
he's being like super glamorous or anything like that. It's like how Christian Bale
Yeah.
gets photographed a lot just driving like an old Toyota Tacoma truck.
Yeah.
And like that's what he drives. And the man's worth like $15 billion or something like that. Like it's just, these are celebrities and they're just dressing like normal
Yeah,
people.
and that's what I mean about the definition of wealthy versus rich, because there are
Yeah.
different types, and I feel like they're in such a different place of wealth that they no longer need to impress anyone. But to wear branded luxury branded clothes to impress people, but looking in like a poor person, someone that could literally be a homeless person, like does that is that really creating your identity in your style? Is that
I think the style, I think people in the fashion industry are probably looking at it like not homeless, but like rough. And like
yeah,
rough, there was an era where rough was like
yeah.
sexy. So
So
they're like, let's sell this. Let's sell rough.
do you do you do you approve of these things, or like not necessarily? I think the word approve isn't the thing I'm looking for. But how do you feel about that, JJ? Like luxury?
So
Yeah,
I'm showing my screen right now.
yeah,
This is what I think. So
yeah,
I think that specifically luxury brands
yeah.
hop on a train. They hop on a train of what is
Trending.
seen as trendy or sexualized, or
Yeah.
others, and also what could be possibly cost effective. So
Mm-hmm.
cost effective, if we look at the 19 not the 19, the
Lots of
1784 to
fabric.
7. Oh yeah, they use lots of fabric, and this is specifically fabric that is hard to get. So like silks and
Silk. Yep.
cottons.
Yeah.
Cashmere. Yep.
That's what these ladies' dresses were used. But if we look over here at the 1962, very minimal fabric. If anything, it was probably used with either a yard, maybe a
Polyester.
few
Yeah.
yards. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Cotton.
so
Yeah.
these were fashion trends then and now, and it's more cost effective. People, so back here we can see that they like to, what's it called? They like to show off the hips,
Yeah.
the tiny waist, and like the buttocks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what their fashion trends are. Back in the 60s, they wanted slim, they wanted pencil thin.
Yeah.
So what was the question again?
Like, well, the thing is like, what do you think of like these luxury brands now romanticizing like the style of like
The whole, oh yeah.
yeah, like low income status folks or homeless people, like literally making it a trend and turning it into a fashion, or like a fashion statement for higher class folks, for higher class people, or people that could actually afford these brands.
Oh
Like
man.
literally this luxury homeless look, like you could
Balenciaga shoes?
Balenciaga shoes, or like,
Why fashion loves to cosplay poverty
yeah, see why
I
fashion.
right
think
there.
Like, what do
I
you
think
feel about this? Like, could you see yourself, despite, we don't have to be personal about our like financial status or whatever, despite our financial statuses, can you see yourself going to these luxury
never,
brands and be like, I'm gonna go buy
never
me a
ever.
pair of those shoes?
Never.
I would not even try to look like this. You know why?
Here's
Because the reason why people don't look like this in real economy is because if somebody saw them on the streets, they're walking and they look like this, they're gonna be like, ah, that's some bummy. What are you? Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah,
that's
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 okay.
bummy
some
ass
bummy ass
shoes.
shoes.
No, but
Yeah.
but you know, here's the thing. But because there's the Balenciaga name in it, they're gonna know. Oh no, that's not a bummy shoe. That's Balenciaga. That costs $1,500.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
It's
saying? Like, it's now identify. It's literally romanticizing poverty. Like, you're just showing off that you can dress like this and still apparently make yourself look cool despite what you know what that looks like. Um, but it
But here's
doesn't make
here's
sense
a
to
hot
me.
here's a hot take though. Do you think that like the high fashion brands are like doing they're like showcasing the lower class? Do you
No,
think
it's
it's
not.
like an entitlement or ego type of
I
thing?
think it's
Like,
a
hey,
mockery.
like a mockery.
I look at it as a mockery. I think it's like there is no reason for someone, like literally there are people out there dressed like this because it's their means. That's the only thing that they can access. And then now you have these rich people romanticizing it and like, I want to look like this. And some of these attire is actually part of that anti-male gaze outfit of the day thing. So like these women would go out there and look super bummy like they're homeless so that men will be less attracted to them all of a sudden. Like that's their idea of it. And that's the part I don't condone, because it's like now it's just disrespectful, because yes, fashion can be a statement to create your persona, who you are and your identity. But if you're doing this out of mockery of something, it no longer becomes like fashion for yourself. It's more of an attack towards an individual, especially for
maybe
people who
But
are
they're
less
making money
fortunate.
off of it.
And they're making money off of it. They're monetizing it. They're capitalizing off of the idea that it,
Or I think it's like a political move saying that like they think they're trying to tell the world it's okay to look like this.
maybe it's not for mockery. Maybe it's a business thing. So not only is it cost effective, but if you look at fashion runway shows today versus back then,
yeah.
you can see how unhinged it is
Yeah.
because of how I think people are getting less creative now.
Yeah.
Because now we have the internet, now we have all of these different things. So whatever we think is
It's no longer
original or
art.
whatever comes, yeah, it's like you can't think of anything new because everything new is already online. And so you already see something that you thought was new, it's not
Yeah.
new. So then there goes your motivation, there goes any instance you have. So I remember looking on Instagram. There were these fashion shows, and they were, I think it was like the just getting ready and having no time look. So people
Oh, I've
had
seen that.
half
Yeah.
button shirts. Somebody didn't even have clothes on. They had like a towel around them. And I'm like, I thought
Yeah.
this was supposed to be fashion. This
Yeah.
is just telling me that you guys didn't plan well.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't really put any effort
Yeah, and
to.
I feel like that's what they're doing with the homeless look. It's like, well, we're kind of running out of ideas here, so we need to find something that'll please the public enough to where they won't get mad, but also give us something to run off of. So homeless, baggy clothes look. They,
The effortless pieces.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like effortless, but it's
That's why
it's
I was like
not
saying like you
good.
think the higher fashion like luxury brands are like saying it's okay to look this way.
I think it's
Because
stupid.
Yeah,
I
I see.
personally
Yeah,
think it's trashy.
accepting it.
I agree. I agree. I think it's stupid. I think it's a representation of laziness
Yeah.
in the higher spaces,
Yeah.
because the fact that they're in a higher space than most people are should give them the idea that they should be more creative and be able to influence others in many ways. But instead, they're utilizing these things as a, oh no, let's just give you the effortless look. Like you don't have to try, but you're trying a little bit. So I'm gonna give you like a really baggy hoodie, but I'm gonna tear it up a little bit. Like distressed jeans was a thing in like like 2010s to like 2014. Distressed jeans, oh my god, you saw men and women wearing distressed jeans. And sometimes
Those are the ones that are like cut up, right?
yeah, they're cut up. Like people will really sometimes buy Levi's that are not cut up because the distressed jeans from Levi's are more expensive than the ones that are not cut up. So then they'll buy the cheaper Levi jeans and then tear it up themselves. Like they'll cut it up themselves. And then now you got
Yeah.
distressed jeans.
I
And
remember my grandpa, I bought like a black pair. My
yeah,
grandma bought me a black pair and he was like he's also old and country-ish.
yeah,
So he was like, "Girl, if you wanted some torn up jeans, I would have bought you a pair and I would have torn them up
yeah,
myself." And
yeah.
I'm like, "But they're fashionable." They're like, "No, they're homeless."
Yeah,
I
they're all,
think
yeah,
I think
it's
distressed jeans was also an era too, though, where it was like there was a very conservative era where it's like everyone has to wear jeans and they're just like straight cut or whatever. And then the distressed jeans was kind of like with the bikini thing that we talked about.
no, it
It's pushing a little bit more into like showing a little bit more
no.
skin.
So
Hey,
that
your knee is showing.
So the real background to that, so it became that. So the real background to that was Levi's was the staple of it. Truthfully, Levi's created this story and this character of distressed jeans because Levi jeans were like in their brand was supposed to last a lifetime. Like the whole idea is
They
that
don't.
yeah, the idea. Well, here's the thing. So the idea is that Levi jeans or even denim jackets from Levi's, you can literally pass it down to your grandkids or your kids as they get older, and they still have this like look. And then the distress look. What it means that over time, it's like leather shoes. Over time, like or leather boots, it starts to look cooler because it's worn out and you've broken them in. So then the leather looks a little bit different. With distressed jeans or denim, that was that idea of that sooner or later over time fabrics would start to tear apart, stitches would come off from these jackets and these pants, but you can still they can still be considered wearable. And so over time that was the idea that like our grandparents were passing down these clothing to like the grandkids, and then they happen to have holes in it, and in that time in this generation it became a trend. We're like, oh my gosh, you have these classic Levi 501s from the 1980s, but they're distressed. That looks so cool. So then that became a trend where everybody wanted to have distressed pants and distressed denim, where there's literally a hole in the pocket, but they'll make it. They'll make the distress instead of waiting years for it to become distressed. So that's why the trend became a trend. Um, and again, it's the romanticization of broken things like homeless people literally don't have the means to have anything, so then they are forced to dress a certain way. They just happen to know how to layer up a good clothing, like plus it gets really cold at night during the winter time, so they're gonna wear layers of jackets and sweaters and make it look cool somehow. um but I think the opinion or the thought I wanted to get is that you wouldn't you guys wouldn't purchase these clothing, but do you accept the idea that it's okay to wear?
Nah, okay, I'll stop you there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't purchase luxury brand homeless look.
Yeah,
I
that's
would purchase cheaper products that give off a specific look. Maybe not homeless, but
a
like
grungy.
distressed jeans.
Yeah.
I do have one pair of distressed jeans. Have I worn them? Maybe one time.
Okay.
But like the whole baggy thing, like I wear baggy shirts like all the time.
Yeah. Well, like
I wear layers of like jackets and stuff like that. I work outside, like it is what it is.
yeah.
But like those are the resources that I have, right? But in terms of like paying for the higher brand specifically, no, never. Would I get the
The
specific
off
style
brands.
of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What about you, JJ? Would you do that?
Buy from a
Maybe
top brand,
maybe like an
like a
off,
luxury brand.
yeah, off brand or top brand with that like style, like that kind of like grungy, like effortless look.
Uh, so if it's like a luxury brand, no, hell no. I'm not gonna pay $400 for a ripped
Yeah,
up pair of jeans.
yeah,
If it was something, so I have one specifically. I have a Dr. Pepper hat, and it's got these like little like ruffles of the like the string as if it's been worn for a long time, and I personally like that look.
yeah,
It, but I come from like I come from the country. The country here, that's what everybody wears.
yeah. Country got some
So
style though. You got. I love. You laugh at
if you
it.
went if you went to the high school I went to with everybody wearing cowboy boots, flannel shirts, and then on top of that they had what's the hairstyle where you only have long hair in the back?
Oh, like a mullet.
Yeah,
Rat tail.
it was
Yeah, it's a mullet.
mullet rat tails. They had
Yeah.
both. It was absolutely horrid. It looked so bad.
But see,
Ugh.
it's. I think it's
Hey, is that you mocking them because you think that their style is really
no,
cool?
no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's
No, I was
not.
talking about Cyrus.
Yeah, it's not a mockery
Oh.
for me to say that it's cool because I was gonna explain myself to that. I think it's cool because different areas, different regions will have a different style of self expression. So I think it's cool because they're expressing themselves based off of the demographics or the region that they're in. Country, that's the country look. So yes, it's like if you were to see someone with that style, a mullet, cowboy boots, and flannel coming out here in Northern California in the Bay Area, you're gonna look at him like, bro, you don't belong here. Right off the bat, you're gonna say, "Where are you from?" You're gonna ask that person, "Where are they from?" Because you clearly identify them based off of their fashion style. You know that that style isn't prominently worn in that area in the Bay
Well,
Area.
maybe in your area. I mean,
Yeah,
at my job, it's
maybe. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? That's a self expression based off of their region as well too. So that's
Okay,
why.
but if you think of it like I'm in the region,
Yeah,
I know what's a fashion trend here, and I've even talked to people, and they said, yeah, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen from people who are here.
yeah, and I
It may be a self-expression,
yeah.
but that is a very, very, very self-expression.
And that's the best part. It's because fashion could be so subjective, right? To someone who's wearing the cowboy boots, flannel shirts, or flannel button downs, and having a mullet, maybe that's their style because that's the kind of representation that they want for themselves. Or maybe,
Oh,
or
the boots and flannel are fine. It's just the mullet.
the mullet, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a character, right? Because that mullet thing started trending again actually 2 years ago. In 2022, that mullet thing was a thing here in California, and that was disgusting. A lot of men had like bowl cuts, like literally, like you could put a bowl in there and just cut your hair all the way
Bowl
through.
cuts.
But not only is it a bowl cut, it's a bowl cut with a mullet in the back. They're growing the backside with a bowl cut, and that was a thing. And apparently, that was like, oh yeah, it makes me a man for having this. Like, no, you look like a fool. Well, personally, for me, I would look like a fool for
Nah,
having that.
you look
Me,
like a fool.
me personally, I like this curly hair. I naturally have a curly hair, or I have curly hair, but
you have
God,
one single hair.
I know just a curly hair. That's why
Curly.
that's why I was like I corrected myself. But I naturally have curly hair. But when I was younger, I would get bullied for having curly hair. Now, a lot of Asian guys would go out there to go out of their way to get a perm to have my curly hair. Like it's like this trend, and people are like, "Oh yeah, curly hair is more attractive now." And I'm like, "Excuse you, you called me ugly when I was young." And then they'll be like, "Oh, you're still ugly now." And I just learned to accept the fact that I will never be handsome. I guess it was never my hair; it was just me in general. But side
Yeah.
note,
But the thing is, like, that's trauma, dude.
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
even
that's
now, I'm like, damn, bro, like
yeah,
you got the curls today, it looks so good.
yeah. I was like,
And
"What are
you're
you
like,
talking about, bro? This is my
no,
natural
I
hair."
look so, I feel so ugly right
Yeah,
now.
I'm not like I'm underdressed kind of thing, and we're talking about fashion, and I'm over here with just a Uniqlo T-shirt.
Well, who
Yeah,
cares?
no,
I'm
but
wearing
Who
a Georgia
cares? That's how
hoodie.
you
hey,
express yourself.
no, but that's the point. I think we're definitely way over the time now. So 9:30. I like that you guys are saying no. I would never, cause here's a little thing. You guys said you would never buy from luxury brands to look like a homeless person or like
I think it's
to
I
look
would never
effortless.
buy from luxury brands to look lower class.
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already low class. What the fuck is that gonna
Exactly. I'm gonna
change?
buy my current class.
Yeah. So I agree in the sense that yeah, I would never buy to look less, which doesn't make sense. It's literally a mockery of things. But so the reason why I'm saying this is because I am guilty of it. I did buy Balenciaga slash Gap collaboration with Kanye West, the Yeezy hoodies.
Canceled.
Yeah, I'm
Cancel
canceled.
him. Ban him. Ban him.
Hey, I bought it before that Balenciaga drama, okay? I bought it before that, and I'm not gonna stop wearing it, not because
Rose-colored
I
lenses.
support Balenciaga, but for what they were doing and that crazy stuff. It's not because I support them, but it's because I paid $300 for the hoodie. What do you think I'm gonna toss it out just because but
Sell
also
it on eBay.
but also I bought it for the idea that it truly was a comfortable attire. Like I wear this hoodie sometimes at home, especially during the wintertime. I would wear the hoodie because it was like me wearing a giant blanket, like a giant comforter, but
No,
it has
there are those.
yeah.
They're called Snuggies.
I don't want a
Oh my
snuggie.
god,
I
You
wa-
should
Snuggies
get
are
a
so
Snuggie,
hard.
bro.
but
You
I
look
don't
so
want to.
cute and comfy, bro.
I don't want to run
Little
out in
Filipino
public with a
boy
snuggie. I want to
playing
run out in
games,
public with
bro.
a hoodie that just looks like a comforter. That's what I want to wear. So it's like that's why I paid $300 for the hoodie, not
You
necessarily
could have just
because it was
paid
Balenciaga.
$50 or $120 maybe for an
For
essential
like
hoodie.
Nike.
Yeah, but
Nike's also hella soft.
I tried the comparison, but it didn't compare. But I'm well aware the labor cost for that hoodie was probably like $1.50
You
for
animal.
that amount of
You're
fabric.
trash.
But I
You
paid.
hate on. You're
But
so two-sided. You
but
hate on companies for having horrible labor practices, but you buy the one company that you know is $1.50. You're trash.
I know I'm a hypocrite.
trash.
I admit. But
Listen, this is Dark Sport Wolves. I know for sure they're not in sweatshops. They're made in LA.
but
Okay.
like I said, I accept. I don't condone what had happened or what is happening behind the scenes with Balenci.
You buying it is condoning.
Yeah, whatever. But
Canceled.
but I like my Uniqlo clothing because I know
Roll
I
your
support them for their
eyes.
price. I know I'm in trouble. I'm
You're
so
like, oh, whatever.
whatever. No, see, like someone in the chat was like, no, it doesn't look homeless though, in my opinion. And this hoodie is like double layered, so it's like literally like wearing a comforter. So they're even agreeing that it's a comfy hoodie. So it looks like
Yeah,
they have
I
it.
I
too.
think they're
don't think-
talking about the Snuggie.
Oh, are we talking about the Snuggie or are we talking about the Balenci slash Gap hoodie?
But even that, I don't think that that's in the era of like,
Yeah.
bummy.
Well, no, that's what Yeezy made. Yeezy was literally made those
Yeah,
things.
but Yeezy is not defined as bummy. They have series of bummy clothes.
Yeah.
They had series of luxury clothes, like they had leather jackets.
Oh.
Leather jackets are not bummy.
Chat said on YouTube, no, I'm talking about the hoodie because I got one too. So
Yeah, I mean, like that's cool. It's Gap.
yeah, yeah.
Y'all
It's
are gonna be saying that y'all have to have the bougie McDonald's.
no, heck no.
What's bougie McDonald's?
A bougie McDonald's.
Yeah. No, there's actually in the Bay Area, there's a vegan version of McDonald's and it's like a spoof version of McDonald's and their burgers are literally like $15. And if you buy the Happy Meal, it's like $55 for the Happy Meal.
Bro, it's like
For a
that's
vegan
not
version
very
of the
fair, dude.
McDouble.
It's expensive to be healthy, apparently.
Yeah, and then like fries, potatoes, how much more vegan can you be with potatoes? Like they literally make the same fries like McDonald's. But it's $55 for the
those
Happy
oil.
Meal. Yeah. It's the avocado oil, that's why it's no wonder. But here, I'll be right back. So chat was saying show them the hoodie. I'll be right back and then we'll end the stream. Hold on. You guys might agree with
This
me.
guy, why you gotta flex, bro?
I'm not flexing. I just want
We're
to
already talking about the $12,000 Docker.
chat was the one saying show them. Okay, I won't show them. Now I feel bad. I feel bad.
Why don't you have the chat
we
bring
want
it
to
in?
know.
Okay, see, they want to know. Okay, I'll be right back.
Hi, chat. How's your
But
day
that's my
going?
thing. Is like I don't. Why doesn't he just get like if he wants to be fashionable? Why doesn't he just get or trending? Why doesn't he just get something like?
Well,
essential?
did he get it to be fashionable or did he get it for essential?
He
So
did say
for
the
like
price,
warmth, or did he
which
get
is
it
a-
for fashion?
It's a little bit of hype. Like I don't think that hype is fashion. I think hype is also pride.
Yeah, hype is a
Hype
trend.
culture. Yeah.
Hype is literally what's trending. It's just another definition for trend. So
Would you
this,
okay? We want to ask you this. Would you say you got that because of the specific comfort of it? Like, did you wear it before,
yeah,
or
yeah,
you
yeah.
got it because it's Gap, Balenciaga?
No, I got it because of the comfort, and it just so happened that, oh, that's dope. It's like a Balenci Gap collaboration, because you would never see Gap do a collaboration with high fashion. It's that idea that there was like that indication that yes, it's a collaboration of something that is a middle class brand with high fashion, but more so, I actually was sold on it because of the fact that, because when I first saw that it was a $300 hoodie, I said, hell no. No way in my life would I ever touch that to even buy it. And then I wore it and I was like, no, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Not only did I get
How
it,
did you get to wear it?
not only
If
did
it's
it,
like hype.
not only did I
Yeah,
get,
whatever, dude.
no,
That right there is privilege.
well, yeah, okay. Well, it's just the connections. But not only did I get one, I got two because it was so good. It was,
Bruh.
but it was
You
like,
put it on a fancy hanger.
would do
no,
that.
this is the Amazon
I
hanger.
would.
Yeah,
I
this is a,
Damn.
got
this,
wood hangers.
this is a
galore, dude.
Amazon hanger. Like I
Mine
have
came
wooden.
from Walmart that they came on.
It
Yeah.
has it has
I'll do
a
that
bird
too.
in the back.
I have, yeah, it's the dove. It's actually a representation, supposed to be like a symbol of his mom or something. Kanye West.
Wow, that's actually really sick. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I thought it was the Gap collection that was all blue, and I was like, this guy looks like a bum.
No,
But now it's the dark one.
Yeah.
I like neutral colors,
yeah.
but I would say that bums wear neutral colors too, though.
Well, that's the whole idea. It was like the whole like bummy look or whatever, like
Yeah.
really baggy hoodie, but
I
then
was thinking
really
about the wrong
tight clothes.
collection that got released.
The hem on the bottom, like it's like a crop top, so it like doesn't actually like hang down, hang loose. It crops it on your like waist, so it's like really comfy, and it gives you a
Oh.
style.
Are you trying to get that? Are you trying to get that hourglass waist?
Oh
Trying
yeah,
to
you
get
know, I'm trying to
snatched
look like back in the 1700s. You know, I'm trying to without a corset.
Oh,
I'm doing it without the
damn.
corset kind of thing. You know.
Yeah, we're gonna break all the ribs then.
What I was like wondering is like, why would you specifically get the $300 Gap, Balenciaga, whatever collab versus getting like an Essentials hoodie for like $80?
Because Essentials hoodie has horrible quality, horrible.
Really?
I
Does
think
it?
it's like my background in design and fashion. Like I have like literally, there is actually a TikToker online that gives you the quality, the graded quality of every fabric that is used by these designer brands, like especially streetwear brands. He even called out Supreme, Fear of God, Essentials, and all these other streetwear brands now that are expensively like selling their clothes for hundreds of dollars or higher, but with really
$80.
poor quality.
$80 for a hoodie.
But even that $80 hoodie had really poor quality like material that you can
Maybe you
even
need
get.
one of my hoodies.
Well, you can even get like a hoodie with a higher quality fabric from Gap than getting from like I would rather buy the Gap hoodie because of the fabric quality than pay $80 for a brand called Fear of God or Essentials. That's why I don't own any Essentials or Fear of God, because they really rip off. And every shirt that they have, every pants, every hoodie, they don't have the same exact stitchings. If you go to Nordstrom and go to Essentials, the Essential section, and look at their t-shirts, you'll see, and you go and look at their stitchings, the lining of every fabric doesn't match, never matches. It's
How do you know that's not a fashion statement?
no, it's a poorly made fabric because
That would mean that every single shirt is different then.
no, it's because
it's
they
horrible
poorly
quality.
make it. It's mass produced. Like it's because of that idea. The guy who literally is a designer profession who grades these fabrics and knows the grading quality of the fabrics and where you can get the fabrics, he even tells you. So these are the manufacturers you can go to if you want to make a brand like a quality like this or a clothing brand yourself, and he teaches you where to find these fabrics for a cheaper cost and for higher quality, and he tells you all of these things. Like Essentials really, like truthfully, have been caught like multiple times for using cheap fabrics and selling it for higher cost. So that's the thing. And that was the thing that was different. Gap alone,
Yeah,
in terms of the fabric, was different.
Here's where I want to debate though. You were talking about the stitching,
Yeah.
but then you're talking about the quality of the fabric.
Yeah.
Those are two separate things.
Well, yeah, it's the way that it's produced. like the way that the quality is, or the production process of it, plus the fabric itself. The reason why the stitchings never align is because the fabric doesn't stretch a certain way. Because when you put fabric in a sewing machine, it'll either stretch or it'll curl up, and depending on the quality of the fabric that you're stitching, can create a different lining onto the stitch.
Okay.
So with Fear of God or Essentials, the reason why their stitchings or their linings never align or never match or consistent, because their fabric is inconsistent. Like if you literally like stretch it out, you can tell that the materials, the lining already is kind of like tearing up. It's already like,
Oh,
yeah.
so you're saying that the stitching isn't the issue, but it's the fabric that's the
Yeah,
issue.
the fabric and the quality of it
Okay.
that
I
causes
was
those
gonna
stitchings.
say.
Yeah. It's not just because, oh, I'm not gonna get that shirt because it doesn't match with this shirt. Like, no.
It's not matching with my stitch aesthetic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
I
don't
mean,
know, man.
I can
The
be
two
like
hoodies
that.
that I have, I feel like are pretty
Oh.
nice. They're heavy.
You can get lucky. You can get lucky, and even the guy, I'll share it with you guys like off stream, but even the guy on TikTok, he says, yeah, there are some essentials, the essential brand. There are some clothing that they make that is of high quality, but you will also find that it's inconsistent because you'll go to and get another shirt or another hoodie, and you're gonna be like, does this feel thinner? It doesn't sit right on your shoulders. Like even those things, like it matters a lot, especially for people who are really into fashion. The way this hoodie sits on my body, it just feels just right. But if I wear
The
a Fear of God or Essentials hoodie, it just drags down and then it just looks weird all towards the waist area. And the hoodie doesn't hood. You know what I'm talking about? Like the hoodie isn't hooding. Like,
It's a structured hoodie.
yeah, the structured hoodie where it just like it looks like those animes that you would see, like they just look so cool with this like really like Kingdom Hearts kind of thing, like
Yeah.
Organization 13 kind of hoodie. That's the kind of hoodie I want. That's the style I'm looking for.
I think yeah, if it's like the fabric that changes, that's the issue. Because there's also like people who have allergies. So if you're misrepresenting what fabric you're using, so let's say that you say you're using polyester, but you're actually using cotton, that's a big issue
Yeah.
because like I have a skin condition. I have dermatographism, and I have a thing where if I hit something, I get hives. If somebody touches me, I get hives.
Yeah.
But if like a specific like if a detergent is used on a specific like
Oh
fabric
yeah.
or something, I get hives. I have like super bullshitty sensitive skin,
Yeah.
and if I was lied to saying that this hoodie is one thing but it's actually like cotton, I'd be very mad. I'd be
Yeah.
very sue happy.
Yeah. And I agree with those. Yeah, again, it comes down to practices of like being transparent and honest with your consumers. Those really matter to me a lot. But overall, in general, one, I want to say thank you, JJ, for actually showing up. This was unexpected. I really appreciate you being so supportive with the streams that I've been having. I know I see you on the sidelines or behind the scenes and just show up from time to time, as I have with yours. But this was really,
watching.
yeah, I'm like lurking. I'm just like in the back while you're doing your homework, and I'm actually watching your ducklings just swim around the pool. Anyways, but but I do appreciate you showing up too and sharing your perspective and your input on this, let alone showing us your new PNG tube image. It's really cool.
Yeah, don't tell. I haven't showcased it yet.
Don't worry. Only my group will see. But I appreciate that you were able to share input from a different perspective and that you were being honest with your thoughts, whether they be subjective or objective. It really helped us a lot, really just kind of gauge out this whole fashion. As you can see, we've been talking for about 2 hours and 20 minutes off of this. It could be a very, very long conversation, and we can talk about this for days. But all in all, fashion is subjective. It is purely based on everyone's opinion and their own style, the way that they want to depict themselves, how they define who they are as a person based off of the clothing that they wear. Whether you be in a low income status or in a higher bracket where you can afford any of these kind of brands, or even brands that don't exist out there for the normal people because can only be seen in certain areas that most people can't reach. The whole idea of it is really creating your own identity in the way that you want to. To just be comfortable in your own like self, that despite whatever it be, how no matter how expensive or less expensive it may be, that fashion should just be a statement to share who you are. Um, and it should be okay. Like I said, I am totally okay with like fast fashion in a sense that if there are justifiable causes or reasons for them, because yes, it does help and allow multiple people out there, like people in low income statuses or in even the middle brackets, to be able to afford things that most people can't really afford or reach, and still be able to represent themselves individually. But I also do accept high luxury brands or more expensive clothing or materialistic things in a space to justify how long it's actually going to be worth for me. Like the quality of life of the fabric or like the materials that I have are based off of what I'm gonna allow myself to spend on.
It's an
So
investment.
it's an investment. Sometimes those things, yeah, like there's a lot of clothing that I still wear may not be trending or fashionable anymore, but when people see it, they're like, "Whoa, where did you get that? I don't see that anymore, or I haven't seen that." But it's because of that idea that I purchased it for the quality rather than for what's trending or what's not. So I hope you both also got something out of this, and I hope chat. Thank you for being here and being present in the conversations and sharing a lot of your thoughts. There was a lot of good conversation that had happened, both on Wes's stream and both on my stream as well too, both on Twitch and YouTube. So thank you for sharing your inputs. I hope you guys got something out of this, and I hope that you can be truly comfortable, no matter where you are in your place in your life, to show off who you are as an individual, in your own ways, in your own style, because that's what fashion is about. Like, it's really just representation of your individuality. And it doesn't matter if you wear that high hat on. Maybe it's questionable if you're wearing that in a hot summer day. Maybe you shouldn't be wearing a hot fedora like that. Unless it was like a straw hat fedora. Maybe that's kind of cool. Could look like
It was my
Luffy.
grandpa's.
Hey,
I don't know. I'd still judge them if they had a mullet.
I'd still judge them if they had a mullet. That's not even fashion. That's just like what they legit look
No,
like.
I think
Oh,
your hair is part of your
is hair considered fat? Man, this is a whole nother. We can't go in that other black
glasses.
hole.
You need
Well,
these to
glasses,
see.
yes,
You need
but
glasses, right?
I think like when I think of fashion, I think of like, okay, yeah, you're right, because there's like jewelry
I
is a
think
piece of
your whole
fashion.
entire image is a part of your
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah,
Do you
image
wear a
is part.
mullet?
Fingernails, I think, are part of fashion too. Like people do the whole bedazzled nails and stuff like that. I think that's part of fashion.
Yeah, you're right. I would consider it as part of fashion. But yeah, be who you want to be. Like,
Be who you want to be, except
yeah,
for a mullet.
yeah, except
Yeah,
for
except for
mullet
mullets.
or rat tails, no longer acceptable. Not in this
Yeah.
society. And
Unless you're a Padawan.
especially a
They'll be
bowl cut,
banned.
especially a bowl cut mullet. Please don't ever show up in
Oof.
my Discord or my chat. Don't
Or
show
in
up
my
with that.
house.
Yeah, or in her house.
Bowl cut mullet
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah, not acceptable. But yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having this stream, this chat. Again, we have these podcast episodes every Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. till 9 p.m. usually, but in conversations like this that are very engaging and really thought provoking, sometimes we do extend it. So we appreciate you guys for staying here for this long. Come catch us again next week. JJ, if you happen to see any topics that you would like to come and join us on,
Okay.
yeah, let us know. We usually tell people in advance. Currently right now we have not decided what episode topic it'll be for next week, but we will let our audience know by Monday coming up, and we'll let our group of friends know as well. So JJ, you will know that ahead of time, just in case you do want to participate and show up again.
Okay.
But it's not an obligation. We appreciate you showing up though, even last minute.
Now I'm forced here. Help me. They
Yeah,
have me in
now
the
you're
basement.
stuck.
Help. Help.
But
Wait,
thank you
no.
guys.
Wait.
This is where I end it. I'm gonna do my outro as per usual. So please stay
Don't
on
get
here.
scammed by your banks.
Yeah, don't be scammed by your banks.
Change your
Don't pay
banks.
them
If you're getting
fees.
change your banks.
Yeah, change your banks if you're
Yeah.
getting fees like me.
Don't be like him.
Don't be like me. But here's my outro. Thank you guys. Let me just put this outro for us, and then we'll have a little chat if you don't mind staying here, JJ, for a little bit.
Guys, I'm
Peace.
about to get a pink slip.
Yeah. Peace out, guys. Thank you so much.
I'm drawing my new out. What's the word? Underlay.